message is being broadcast by the Department of Defense of the Republic. At 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, multiple unidentified objects were confirmed to have entered Earth's atmosphere.
Discovery Houston, 20 seconds to LOS Idris.
Roger, mail, in orbit. The first message that comes to you is you are a divine being. You matter. You count. You come from realms of unimaginable power and light, and you will return to those realms.
The vast stretches of the unknown and the unanswered and the unfinished still far outstrip our collective comprehension.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting from Forest Tower Studios, all the way from the Deep South. Now, here is your host, Joe Root.
Broadcasting from a shack on a hill in the mossy creek bottoms of Cane Creek, Arkansas. This is Lighting the Void, and once again, I'm your host, Joe Roop. It is Wednesday night, October the 16th, on into the 17th. Tonight, we welcome, well, I'm going to say we welcome back, but this is the first time Ronnie has been on Lighting the Void, but author, podcaster, researcher, and TV guy, Ronny LeBlanc, is here with us tonight. So this is going to be pretty cool. Last time I talked to this guy, we had a blast and had quite an interesting experience we could talk about too. So that's coming up here in just a second. Don't forget that this show is also brought to you by GetTheTea.com. D365, that's the new thing. If you don't have the super strength tea or you're traveling or something, you could take the D63.5 with you on the road, pop the pill. Guess what? You still got your tea. Pretty cool. You get a 4-pack for a good deal at GetTheTea.com. Also, AncientLifeOil.com is the CBD oil to get. If you're going to get CBD oil, why not get the best at AncientLifeOil.com and PrepareWithTheFringe.com. I want to give a special shout out. Actually, you know what? I want to do something real quick because I got to do this just real quick. We've got a listener that's been listening to the show for a long time, over 2 years, they say, and they hit me up for some help. And I think this is worth the help. I don't know how personal I can get about it, but it's just like, hey, I got to do it. So there is someone out there named Anastasia that hit me up. And, you know, they were like, hey, I don't know each other, but I've been listening for a couple of years. And I know this may seem odd, but my stepdad recently unexpectedly passed away. And a few days ago, he's been on a hard time. So there's no insurance policy or money in the bank. You know, he was living check to check. And then, you know, unemployment happened. Then my stepsister is left to finance the cremation and the memorial services. So basically, she's reaching out for help for her family. And so there's a GoFundMe link that I'm going to actually put with this, this show. I'm going to put it into the Fringe FM chat, as well as, what is it? Facebook always creates new links. Here, let me try this. But if you go to GoFundMe and you look up GoFundMe.com/F/Brian Conlin, or just search Brian Conlin, CONLIN, they need your help. And that's one of our Void Walkers. That's one of our listeners that is reaching out for help. So if you guys can do anything for them, that would be fantastic. Because we've all been there, right? We lose somebody in our lives. It just comes unexpectedly, and you want to bury them with the proper respect, and you don't have the resources to do so. And so you reach out to those people that love you, and we do love you. So hopefully some of y'all will be able to help out. So and thank you for reaching out to us, Anastasia. I really appreciate that. All right, so y'all make sure y'all go check that out. And I want to say that to the people that are asking me about the archives, look, the live shows 5 nights a week. I got to keep saying this to you guys, and I produce shows too. So it takes a couple of days sometimes to catch up, but we're also working on a couple of things in the background at the same time that's really going to pay off. So don't worry, the archives are going to come out. it just may be a few days before they come out. So like this show tonight, it may take a few days. It may take to the weekend before it comes out, but it's just a few days. I'm sure there's other stuff you can go play with until you come back here. And people are getting shirts, and they look really good on you. And I need the pictures. I want to see you in the shirt. I want everybody to see how good it looks on you. So, hey, I appreciate you just sending me the picture, but, show it off to everybody. That's what helps, right? So send me your pictures, please. I'm making a big collage out of everybody's shirts and stuff. All right. Also, don't forget, season 4 UFO Seekers is out. We love UFO Seekers. We support them. If you have had a Cat says, okay, I'm still at work. My God, she's mad because I want a picture. Yes, give me the pictures. YouTube.com/UFO Seekers. Follow them on Twitter at UFO Seekers. If you've had a sighting that you want to report, you can go to their website, too. You don't always have to call the number at ufoseekers.com. I want to get into this because I know this is going to be fun. I know I sound like I'm rushing everything, but I kind of am. Ronny LeBlanc is with us, and he's a globally recognized figure in the world of paranormal, Bigfoot, and UFOs, and he's an independent researcher, screenwriter, and author of the critically acclaimed and best-selling book, Monsterland, Encounters with UFOs, Bigfoot, and Orange Orbs, which details the history and connection between the various phenomena, highlighting his experience and a research area called Monsterland in central Massachusetts. As a regular speaker at the Exeter UFO Festival, New England UFO Conference, and ParaFest, Ronnie's passion, fun-loving personality, and sense of humor have proved the way for him in bringing the subject matter of UFOs and Bigfoot to the mainstream public. He created a regular radio segment called Monsterland Monday on legendary Boston rock station WAAF 107.3 FM, and the author and speaker host a widely popular podcast entitled Monsterland with co-host Matty Blake. Ronnie, it's good to have you, man. This is actually your first time on Lighting the Void. Last time I talked to you, we were on a different show. It was a Saturday show. Wasn't really this show.
That's right. Oh, yeah. Wasn't it Spaced Out Saturday?
Spaced Out Saturday, yep. I used to host over there, right? And it was fun, man.
Right.
We talked about a lot of cool stuff. I think Matty was on there, too, wasn't he?
He was. We did a show together, we did from 12 to 3 in the morning for us, right into Father's Day, and then we had a UFO sighting after. We were talking about UFO sightings.
Gotcha. Yeah. And didn't you actually have one though, like right after we talked? Or Darren, was it Darren or right after?
Right after we finished up, and I was walking outside in my car, and we're looking up at the stars, and Maddie's like, come on, Ronnie, use your juju. I'm like, what? So I looked up, and we both looked up in the same section of the sky, and I go, oh, here we go. And just like we talked about on your show, it looked like a star. It was white, solid. It wasn't blinking any red, white, or green lights. And this thing cruised across the sky and was at such a high altitude, but was moving at such a speed that you're like, this is not a satellite. And we began kind of like talking to it. And Matty was like, show us something, flare up. And as we're watching this thing, he sees the light actually change the color of red, like it flared up all around it red and then changed. I didn't see that, but I did see this bright flash of light that seemed to come either from the thing itself or what it was flying by that was sitting in the sky. But it literally, my retinas, my pupils, I could feel the dilation of the brightness, and I was like, whoa, did you just see that? And Matty didn't see that bright flash, but he did see this red flare-up from this UFO. And again, it looked like a star. It didn't look like a flying saucer or anything like that. It was just a white ball of light that seemed to be a good size, but was very, similar to a star. So when you saw this thing initially, you just thought it was a star, think it might be a satellite, but this thing was moving at such a clip, and then it also responded to us in a way that was just odd, and it was different for both of us, which was very perplexing.
So you both saw it differently, right? Is that what you're saying?
So we both saw the same thing. We both saw that white, star-like object, but when we were started talking to it, to do something, it did something different for both of us. So it was like a flash of light that I saw, and for him, he didn't see that flash, but he saw like the star-like object kind of change to a reddish color almost, and then change back. So it was just very, very odd. It was, 3 a.m. So we're like, okay, we're just talking about this with Joe about objects looking like stars sitting up in the sky, and then either moving off or you see something that you think is something else. And it was just crazy how it all happened in that time frame.
Now, did you end up ever making that Monsterland hard cider that you were talking about? Did you end up making that?
We did. So I partnered up with Wachusett Brewing Company in Westminster, Massachusetts, and we did a Monsterland hard cider. We had a podcast party there as well to kind of celebrate at Wachusett. We had 1,200 people showed up. We had live music. We had Michael Devin from the band Whitesnake came with his band From the Earth. They performed, and it was just an awesome night. And we gave away shirts, and they made pint glasses with the Monsterland logo on it. So it was just a very cool, fun night. And we had a live podcast. So we interviewed the founder of Squatchachusetts, which is a Bigfoot research arm here in Massachusetts that works with the BFRO. We had also some other guests during the whole show. So it was just a real fun time. And from that, I kind of was like, I want to do this again. And so I have a new book coming out, which is basically a part 2 of Monsterland. It's More Encounters with Saucers, Sasquatch, and High Strangeness is the title. And that comes out next month in November. And kind of in tandem with that, I was talking to some friends that are with this new brewery called Bullspit, which is in Lancaster, which is right next door to Leominster. And I had told them, one of my ideas I had was to kind of see my first book is a black cover with the red and yellow orange eyes on the front. And so I thought it would be awesome to have a pint glass with the eyes. And then I always thought maybe like a stout, a dark beer. So when you fill up that pint glass, it would look like the book cover. And
that's a good idea.
We started talking about these ideas, and they're like, hey, why don't we come up with when we do a beer, and we'll do a black IPA, and we'll kind of try to tie it in with the new book release and tie in the podcast and all that stuff. So that's coming out November 9th. We're going to have a little party at Bullspit with a limited edition Monsterland Black IPA, which the company is Bullspit. So I came up with the idea of Sasquatch Spit. That's the name of the Black IPA, Monsterland Black IPA, Sasquatch Spit.
So
strangely delicious.
When it comes to that's really cool. So you got it going on, brother. You're doing you got the Monsterland thing going on. I like that. All over the place. Beer, books, you name it. That's cool. I'm
just trying to have fun with it and bring some awareness, to the mainstream. That's kind of the game plan, I guess. Like these beer collaborations, I'm not making any money on that. It's more of a creative collaboration, working together and promoting, new company and things like that. So it's been fun.
Well, do you think, out of all the big, because you've been on the Travel Channel, it shows on your website, you've been on the Travel Channel, you've been podcasting, your book's pretty famous or well known in the UFO and cryptid community. What do you contribute that to? Is it an experience that you think, or a specific experience that a lot of people ask you about, or is it the fact that you just tell the story so well? Why do you think you get so much success with this?
And I don't even know if I would deem it success, but I think just I've experienced these things that I'm writing about and talking about. I think that's one of the other differences where some people are writing about stuff and they haven't had any experiences per se, but they want to. And reluctantly, sometimes I have experiences that I don't want to, and for me to kind of come out and I think just kind of put all that forward. Initially, it was very risky for me to kind of even share some of these personal stories that occurred not only with me, but within my family, with my wife and kids. So I'm kind of sharing those things and exposing that and kind of putting it out there to the public, which is, it's kind of daunting when you do that. But I've kind of passed that and just, hey, this is kind of what I'm supposed to be doing right now. I'm supposed to be kind of a messenger in a sense, like with sharing this information, because people are coming forward with stories and it's kind of like a healing thing, where it's, hey, I have no one else to tell this story to, but this experience that I had now makes sense because others in the same area have had similar experiences. So I'm not crazy. I know there's something else out there, aside from just this, what we can see, our physical reality. We can only see 1% of that visual spectrum. So there's a lot of stuff that's going on that we can't see. And people having experiences with things that pop in and out of this kind of existence. And it's a worldwide thing. And I think it starts to, perk up the question of what is reality, what is really going on. But I think the Monsterland piece is, I think the book is trying to say that there is a connection with all of this stuff, with UFOs, with Bigfoot, with these orange orbs, with all these different things, that there's a connection, that they're all somewhat related or connected or coming in and coming out the same way. At least that's just what I'm starting to, what I've seen and other researchers before me have seen. So it's not something so brand new, but looking at different aspects and why certain areas seem to have more activity than others. There's the geology element, there's the history of the area and type of, massacres and things like that. And, Native American ties where they've deemed places sacred, military bases close by. So there's just all these different ingredients that seem to pop up with Monsterland, that you start to look at the other hotspots around the country just in that kind of scope, and you're seeing some of those same similarities, some of those same ingredients that they have.
Yeah, I got to tell you, man, the orange orb thing is something that gets my attention for sure.
Oh, dude, same. It still boggles my mind, because when I first had the experience with driving into Leominster coming from work and having these two basketball-sized suns, is the best way you can kind of describe it, fly over my car silently, like one guiding the other, was just literally out of this world. But from my understanding, these are some of the same things that people are, pilots are seeing in World War II. The fighters, these orange fireballs, these orbs, that they each thought it was the other side. The Germans thought it was us. We thought it was the Germans, vice versa. And, but there's just this weird connection to these orange orbs in sites or locations that have Bigfoot encounters or Bigfoot sightings. And, different books like Valley of the Skookum, Enoch, Sally Shepard, and her daughter, Autumn Williams, growing up in Oregon, they were in a Bigfoot habituation kind of situation, and they were having experiences with these orange orbs. Others will tell you that these are just simply souls of, ancient, Native Americans and things like that, but they seem to be more than that. They seem to be more significant than that. And maybe these aren't all the same things that people are seeing, but there's something to them, and they're definitely around here in Monsterland, and they're in other areas as well.
And so what do you think? I mean, if you had to guess, what do you think they are? Do you think that they are, other than like directly related to Bigfoot and UFOs, What do you think they could be? What's your intuition telling you?
When I try to, I've always tried to listen to my gut, and it's hard to get a read on these things due to just some of these different stories of what people have experienced with them. I had never really felt like they're negative by any means. I haven't never felt like this evil feeling or anything like that. So I don't, I've started to question everything again. But I do, I've read different stories and instances and experiences that people claim that this can be this ball of energy. Everything is energy, but this ball of energy could have a conscious entity or multiple things in this ball of light, which is, again, hard to grasp and fathom when you try to comprehend this with your mind. But there's been reports of these things with multiple crashes. There's a lady by the name of Melinda. Her last name's escaped me, from Australia, but she just came out with a book about orbs and seeing all these faces and everything in them. So to me, I feel like, there could be some kind of spiritual vehicle. I mean, this is the same kind of stuff we see with ghosts and things like that, and maybe smaller, white size balls of light. So these could be something people have considered. These could be like some kind of angels or aliens or Bigfoot themselves. And I don't know, but I do know that they respond to intent. They show up everywhere, wherever they want, and they disappear. I've seen them during the day and at night. But I definitely seems to be something connected, I think, on the spirit nature to Bigfoot.
I think I'd have to agree with you.
That is.
I'd totally have to agree with you on that, because we had Dr. Stephen Skinner on the show, and he was talking about, invoking goetic spirits, right? Which is kind of a intense subject. But he said the first, demon or spirit that he invoked had that orange orbish look to it. And then he said it kind of morphed and it shown teeth to him. So what you're saying there kind of makes sense. Like it is some kind of vehicle or portal or something that things could kind of interface from a different realm into this one. That's pretty wild. Pretty wicked.
It is, and isn't it kind of scary as well? I mean, it's just kind of like you think your thoughts and everything is safe, but we hear about these stories with Sasquatch and aliens with that the communication is done through telepathy. So it's like what really is Bigfoot if that is the case, right? Unless this is just the higher form, a more evolved form of communication that we can all communicate this way.
Yeah, and I think Tim is even. So Tim has gotten a couple of these things, and they're like amber colored, right? But these were different. He got these with still photography. I mean, they were moving so fast that you really couldn't catch them with a camera, but they were still orange, right? So what I'm getting at is there's definitely, I totally believe this. There's something to this orange, orbish, amber color type thing that we keep seeing in whatever form it comes through. Some people even told me they think it's like Merkabas or something like that. But I mean, if evil stuff's coming through it and Bigfoots are showing up, I don't know, man. It is a little weird.
Right.
Now,
it is.
What was your first experience with an orange orb? Do you remember?
I mean, the first one was the one I was describing when I was driving home.
Okay.
And they flew over. And so here's the other piece with that. With these things, it's like this weird synchronicity that kind of happens along with it that tells me that it's something else.
What do you mean?
So in that instance, they flew over the car, silent, wintertime, rolled the window down, but I couldn't really pull over to see what the hell these things were. But I just saw them kind of floating away, but in such a way that they looked like they were being, intelligently driven. They weren't just being blown in the wind, let's put it that way. And so when I got home, I told my wife about it, and she was kind of like, okay, it could have been, drones or whatever. I don't know. This is weird. I just had this, weird sense when I saw them. It was just it was almost like a spiritual experience that when you saw it, you're in awe. It was almost like seeing a buck in nature or something like that,
right.
Deer, and you're kind of like, taken aback, like, whoa. It was that kind of moment. And when I got home, I jumped on my computer after I told my wife and jumped on Facebook. And this was, back in 2011. And my friend Ryan Malahi was on Messenger. He was on live, and something told me, not necessarily a voice, but just like this feeling, to send him a message and tell him what I just experienced, what I just saw. And the only connection I had at that time is I had noticed that I was friends with him. We went to school with each other, and he was in my sister's grade, who was younger than me. So we knew each other, but we weren't really close. But in the posts I've seen, he was into ufology and not necessarily Bigfoot, but I've seen him posting different things. So I sent him a note, and I just said, hey, man, how's it going? I said, you're not going to believe what I just saw. 2 orange balls of light just flew with my car. And he starts typing back, and he's like, holy crap, you're blowing my mind right now. He said, were you just at the intersection of, 190 and I was like, yeah. And he said, 15 minutes ago. I was like, yes. And so he revealed that he was at the intersection when I was driving home, right when those 2 balls of light, those orange orbs, flew over. He was coming on the opposite side to the right of me, and he watched them fly over as well. So he was there at that time, and I was like, what are the odds that I sent him, this message, and he, sees it as well. And what was crazy is that then he tells me, hey, I'm a UFO investigator up in New Hampshire. And I was like, what?
Wow,
like, what are the odds of that? Right? So UFO investigator, and then I was told to kind of like just send him this message, and not knowing really why. and we ended up having, we got to get together and talk about this and all this stuff. So we ended up hooking up a couple days later and grabbing a beer and talking about stuff. And this was before the book had come out. I think it was more of like an idea in my head at that time. And then these events like that started to occur more frequently, and more synchronicity type events were occurring that I was like, okay, what's going on? It was very John Keel, Mothman Prophecies thing.
Yeah.
And that scared me.
I bet.
Because I'm like, all right, what am I getting into? What is this? And I'm still trying to figure that out.
Well, you know what? I want to keep talking about this too, because I know there's something to this. And if the audience, if you guys want to chime in, definitely you can ask your questions in the Fringe FM chat too. Of course, the phone lines are there. But we're here with Ronnie LeBlanc. The website is RonnyLeBlanc.com if you're listening for reference. RONNY LeBlanc, LEBLANC.com. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
This is Corbin, son of the one and only Joe Root, and you're listening to The Fringe FM.
Okay, nurse, let's get this man to the ER stat.
Right away, doctor.
We see this every day. Heart attack or angina pain due to blocked and clogged arteries. Chelation can remove obstructions or blockages from arteries and help avoid painful and expensive surgery. Now there's Angioprim. It's a liquid oral chelation product that you take with juice. You start to feel the results fast. Angioprim increases blood flow all over the body, and that means more energy and strength to take on the day with less aches and pains. 16 60 years of research has gone into chelation, and angioprim is the result. A safe and easy way to unblock your veins and arteries from buildup that slow circulation.
Paging Dr. Jones. Please report to the emergency room right away.
Log on now to angioprim.com. That's ANGIOPRIM.com. Or to speak with a trained consultant. Give Angioprim a call at 954-882-7221. That's 954-882-7221.
In the year 2018, this station produced one of the most terrifying tales ever broadcast on radio. Bigfoot Speaks, Interview with the Sasquatch. This year, we bring you an even more terrifying tale to send chills down your spine. Scary. One night only, October the 31st. Be there if you dare.
I think by now we can get the information.
I love magic, and on Lighting the Void, each and every week, you will get to hear shows about magic, mysticism, and many other subjects that stretch your mind and imagination. So when I got my mind on the magic and the magic on my mind, I listened to Lighting the Void on the Fringe FM. It's magic.
May the gods look with favor upon you.
You're wondering what we're going to do to you, aren't you?
Did you know that qualified patients can access medical cannabis in all 50 states? Cannasense is a medical cannabis collective that helps patients in all 50 states gain access to cannabis medication. Cannasense does this with a streamlined process and strict compliance with the Compassionate Use Act of 1996, the Affordable Care Act, and the U.S. Constitution. It is important for each patient to understand the legalities involved, the costs, and the benefits of cannabis medication. Through truth, legalization, and education, the medical benefits of cannabis will supplant recreational perceptions, and the real vision for change will be realized. Let the people and their personal doctors take control of their medical cannabis decisions before the greed of big business takes over. The tipping point for change is today, and Cannasense is ready to lead the charge and enable legal access for all qualified patients to medical cannabis through its proven system. For more information, go to thefringe.fm/care or click the banner on the website today.
Okay, here we go. AncientLifeOil.com. AncientLifeOil.com. Now, this is for CBD. AncientLifeOil.com. Again, for CBD. Where do I get CBD? AncientLifeOil.com. It's pretty good stuff. Organic, non-GMO. We are the Ferrari of CBDs. AncientLifeOil.com. You know, they say when you mention a person's name 3 times when you first meet, that you're going to remember. So I'd say to you, nice to meet you, AncientLifeOil.com. It's AncientLifeOil.com, right? Nice to know that you help people. AncientLifeOil.com. Think about this. Occasional stress, occasional anxiety, occasional inflammation, occasional stiffness, and intruders that get you down. AncientLifeOil.com. Okay, so I'm going to give you a fact for the day. So Ancient Life Oil does not help you with business deals. Hold on a second. If you feel better, it could help you make a better decision. Okay, I'm wrong. Just remember to go to AncientLifeOil.com.
To call Joe, pick up the phone, dial 1-800-588-0335, toll free from the United States or Canada. You're listening to Lighting the Void Radio.
All right, so Ronny LeBlanc is our guest tonight on the program. Tomorrow night, Becca Tarnas will be on here. We'll be talking about archetypes, spirituality, and Jungian psychology with Becca Tarnas. She'll be here tomorrow night. And then Friday night, we'll do the open lines thing again. Before the break, we were talking about the orange orbs, and we kind of started getting into how they might actually be spirits interfacing, and then everybody keeps having interactions with these orange, or sometimes they're called amber orbs. Like everybody I've talked to that has talked to me about some type of paranormal experience, I think has had an interaction with these things, and I think it's interesting that you brought up the fact that, they might be spirits, right? There might be some kind of spirit, right?
Yeah, I mean, and where I kind of go with that is that, the Native Americans say that Sasquatch is a being that has 1 foot in this realm, the physical realm, and 1 foot in the spiritual realm. or that interdimensional realm. And I've often wondered, you know, I was talking to a business owner down the road here. He's from India, and he, great guy. We were talking about orange orbs, and he goes, you know, it sounds like the jinn. And I was like, what? And he's like, you know, in our culture, you know, these things are spirits, and they're made from fire, balls of fire. And I was like, whoa. And so, you know, I've often wondered, you know, people say they have experience with a Bigfoot or a cryptid-type creature in the woods or in their home even, or outside the home and whatnot. But I've often wondered, you know, what if these things are really spirit in nature first and foremost, as we are, right? But that they can, I guess, morph in or become these creatures, but really we take it as this is a Bigfoot and that's what it is, but we're told that they're tricksters, and so that they can shapeshift. So that ball of light, you know, we asked earlier, what do you think those are? I'm not sure. I definitely felt like this connection to Bigfoot and some kind of alien thing, and maybe that's more of our labeling. Maybe this is something that's been here for longer than us. But that is curious that people that have had these experiences are sharing with you about these orange orbs or these amber orbs. I think that's in paranormal situations. So it seems to be more in these frightening situations as opposed to like a positive event, right? Is that what you're hearing?
Yeah, or it's been like a real surprising type thing, or someone's seen a UFO. Like it just seems like anytime something happens, these orange orbs kind of show up. And, you know, now that you bring that up, we did have a guest on, Nineveh Shadrach, who was, he was a magician, like a ceremonial magician, but focused more on Eastern, magic, like from Saudi Arabia and stuff. And he told us that. He said, look, everything that you think is a demon or an angel or all this paranormal activity that you guys talk about, he said, 9 times out of 10, it's a jinn. And jinn are fiery spirits that cause, one of the only spirits from the metaphysical realm and from those realms that can actually interface with this realm and cause paranormal activity in many types of ways. And he went on about that. So, yeah, it is pretty interesting, and that there's an ancient history to it as well.
Wow. So, yeah, I mean, that there can very well be that. I mean, there's some Native American names, right, where they talk about hairy devil and all these different names that give it more of a negative connotation, where we're kind of taught that Bigfoot don't attack anybody, you know, but these could be two different things altogether.
Yeah, and you know, like we had someone on here the other night that had an experience a few nights ago, right, that had a horrifying encounter with a being that it was so scary, man. They dropped the picture in the Discord chat and they removed it, right? It's one of the realest things I've ever seen. And you know, these people, like when they have encounters, certain things happen to them, especially like girls and stuff. Certain things happen. And I honestly, when I saw this thing, I felt evil about it. Like it didn't feel right. You know, it felt kind of ancient. And I think sometimes what we're calling, I just wonder sometimes if what we're calling aliens or whatever is actually something that's been here for a very, very, very long time, you know?
Right.
Now, your experiences with these things have they been rapid? Like, I mean, obviously you wrote a book about it. So did you rapidly start experiencing more things after the first time, or did you just become interested in after that and just really start asking questions?
No, it definitely seemed to ignite from that first experience, where another experience where me and the gentleman that had the Bigfoot prints that were found discovered human-shaped footprints in Leominster State Forest, and we had gone together late at night, around this time, midnight, 1 in the morning, into Leominster State Forest and started walking in. And we instantly got creeped out. We felt like we were being watched. And, you know, we were just small flashlights. We're like, all right, we're just getting creeped out. They're like, let's circle back to the truck here. We're like, what are we doing? So we get back to the truck in the parking area, and we didn't get too far down that trail to start going in. He starts talking about going to this, we could start, our eyes were adjusted, and you could see the silhouette of the outline of Western State Forest and certain ridges. And he's like, we need to go up there. He goes, that's a good spot where I bet you no one really ventures off trails to that area. And maybe 20, 30 seconds later, this orange ball of light appears, the size of a basketball, appears in the sky to the left of where he pointed, of a good distance off, but visible that we can see this thing coming in. There's no sound, there's no visible blinking lights on this thing like a plane. And I didn't say anything, and I just grabbed his arm, and I said, what do you see right now? And he looked over and he goes, I see an orange orb, an orange ball of light flying towards the wood line. It's like, holy crap. And we watched this thing move in, and here's what's crazy. Where he pointed and said, this is where we need to go. This thing starts going into the trees, going in through the woods, and it's lighting up the trees that it's going through. So it's literally flying through the woods now. And I'm like, this is amazing. And it's self-illuminating. It's lighting up everything around it. And it hovers over the spot that he pointed at and then shoots right into the ground. And it was like a light went off. Somebody shot a flashlight and the thing went into the ground. And his thought was like, this is a Bigfoot coming in to eat. It's coming in to feed. And we felt like this thing was going to start coming up the hill towards us. That's how terrified we got. And, I said I never felt like anything evil about it, but it's definitely been somewhat scary and frightening when you experience these things because you're just like, what the hell am I looking at? And we ended up taking off. We zipped out of there. And I had a few more of those, like, within close proximity. And even going away on vacation to the beach, Cape Cod, 2 hours away, they showed up. And I knew they were going to show up. And I had that detail of that in the book, and it's in the new book, and it's just like, what the hell?
Wow. I have not had an experience like that at all yet. Do I want to have an experience like that? Is it that freaky when it happens? When I saw it, I had a feeling. The first time I had a feeling that this was something. You said you used the word ancient, and I think that's the best way to describe it because it was something when I saw it that I felt like I was looking at was something special or something different or something. Not everybody gets to see these things, and. Maybe maybe it is that, this being for the minute this go around that's kind of appearing people start to see it when they start kind of heading in this direction of learning about this stuff. I don't know, but there's people that have seen these things that want to see them. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like they're not looking to have an experience, but they show up whether they believe it or not. And one of those was an adjective in the new book. Somebody I know from Munster, he's a government employee. He does research, Bigfoot research, and he was going to a certain section of Munster State Forest off of Elm Street. And for whatever reason, you think of Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy. And Elm Street, for whatever reason, has this activity. And there is a trail off of it called Hell's Highway. And any of these places, trails that have devils or hells in the name, has been, as colonists came in, colonials, and they started taking over, they started renaming some of these places and replacing those Indian names with these kind of similar definitions, and Hell's Highway and all that stuff. So he was heading in there,
basically, attackers had his backpack, brought his camera, and a lot of stressful stuff going on, financial stuff. So he had a lot on his mind. And for him, like most people that love going to nature, go in the woods, it's a place of peacefulness and relaxation, and to get your mind off things and reconnect with nature.
Yeah.
So he decided to go in there, but along his way, he was going to look for evidence. He was looking for tree bends and different things. Tracks were found, years before. So he was looking for anything like that. He's like you, where he's like, I want to experience.
Yeah,
the big.
Damn the tracks. I want to see one. You know what I mean? Like I want to see something. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I want to see something. I want that physical, visual sighting. I've had something happen to me where it felt like it was invisible in front of me, but I haven't had that visual, like, oh my God, I've seen one. Yeah. But there's been several people that I talked about in the new book too that have had face-to-face encounters. But this gentleman, as he's walking through, he's all by himself going down the trail, and he sees a green ball of light coming over the tree line and heading in his direction. So he's like, oh man, what's this? The green light then changes to orange. And as it starts getting closer to him, he can feel his body start to vibrate. He goes, it wasn't like in my head, but my body started to vibrate, it started to shake as this thing was getting closer. So he reaches into his backpack to pull up the camera, right? Typically when you're in these situations, you don't even think that. You're just in awe of what's happening. But he had the state of mind to kind of reach back and grab his camera. All of a sudden, he couldn't move his hands. He was like, his arm was frozen, like he got paralyzed and got, stopped. And the light got closer to him, and he said he just blacked out, had missing time. Huh. He woke up, the light was gone. He was just like, he knew time had gone by, maybe half an hour or so. And he starts making his way out of the trail, just kind of like, what the hell? And I asked him, I said, have you had any experiences before this? And he's like, you know what? Now you say that, is like my wife and I are sitting on the porch, and we see this green ball of light come out of the sky and go instantly go right into the ground. And we've seen this on a couple occasions. And then I've noticed also like a small shadow person on my porch. And then when I look and notice it, it notices that I noticed it, and it runs off. And I was like, what the hell is going on? But it sounds like a little Bigfoot or something is what the impression I get when he describes it. Yeah. And, so he's going out there in the woods looking for this, has the intent, looking for Bigfoot, and then has this orb experience, and then has also had this paranormal stuff. So it does tie back into the gentleman that you're talking about, the researcher that you had on, and saying that, these orbs can be connected with the paranormal side of things.
Yeah, there's something to all this for sure. Mm-hmm. There's no doubt about it now. No, there's not one question in my mind. There's something to the orange orb or amber orb thing. The Night Stalker in the Fringe FM chat says, where are the Massachusetts, New England hotspots? I never get to hear researchers local to me, so they're just wondering if there's any hotspots in the area.
So there is the Bridgewater Triangle, which is in eastern Massachusetts. It's going to be featured on an upcoming FX TV show. They're making a fictional story about this, but it's very similar to Monsterland, where it has Native American history associated with a lot of death in that vicinity, that area. People see orange orbs. They see Bigfoot-type creatures, UFOs, Thunderbirds, black helicopters. So a lot of high strangeness kind of stuff. And then just north of Leominster is America's Stonehenge, which has a lot of connections to Stonehenge, but other kind of sacred sites, megalithic sites. And it seems to have a lot of activity around that area. Exeter, New Hampshire, Betty and Barney Hill, or Portsmouth, not too far away. And then just Munster State Forest, but a lot of the state forests, and even western Massachusetts, Mount Adams area is very almost like an East Side kind of situation where there's a lot of Bigfoot sightings, there's UFO sightings, and a very Native American spiritual connection to the land that seems to have a connection to the activity.
And this is pretty much what you call Monsterland. See, this is what I want everybody to understand first, before we talk about like anything that you're doing new, that there's this area. Is that why you named the book Monsterland? Because of the area up there around where you live? Or was it just you named the book that because all of the experiences?
No. So what's interesting is the area's had this long history, and the locals that lived in this small section, they called it Monsterland because people were seeing strange things. People would go there, kids would go there and party, and I had never understood where the name came from, but they dubbed it Monsterland because someone saw a Bigfoot creature in the 50s, and then in the 60s people were having sightings. So what I noticed is that the activity, once that area got developed commercially and residentially, like Walmart, houses, condos started going up. The activity seemed to kind of cease, but then Leominster State Forest and those areas that seem to just continue, and areas in and around. And so I named the book Monsterland based off of that. And I've also found from old timers, and they said, you know what it was called before it was Monsterland? It's that area where all that activity was happening. And no, what? So we used to call it the UFO landing area. So, excuse me, there's that Bigfoot UFO connection again in the same location. And they seem to have that relationship. They go hand in hand.
How do people, when you started the show, the segment on 107.3 FM, when you take this to mainstream media on an FM station, how are people reacting with this? Are they accepting? Are they skeptical to you? Do you take callers, or what goes on with that?
I'll tell you, it's been a blessing because you have someone like Matty Blake who had his own show with Nick Stevens, and if people know the New England Patriots football team, there's a guy named Fitzy who's kind of the super fan, and that's Nick. And he's this classic kind of iconic Boston guy, like, whatever, dude. And he has that same kind of playfulness, but Matty's a believer. He's had experiences, but he's a believer and loves stuff like Bigfoot and UFOs, and he had read my book, had me on. And when I came on the show, Nick was just very like, give me a break. There's a Bigfoot in Massachusetts. And so there was a lot of like, I knew I was going to get ribbed and get joked on and stuff. But people were calling in, and the phones lit up like crazy with people, oh my God, I had an experience and this happened and blah, 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 blah. And they were blown away. And Matty was like, hey, man, we need to have you come on as a, paranormal point person, anything pops up. And I said, hey, I would love to do a segment with you guys if you want to do something. We'll call it Monsterland Monday. And they were like, whoa, that's awesome. And it was just the idea, and just kind of like, and then they had me on like once a month. We were doing this segment, and it just continued to grow. But every time I would go on, there were people that would call in and were very genuine and tell their stories and encounters. And I would say maybe 2 out of 10, you get people making fun of it and joking around, because it was a afternoon radio show, and people were still trying to, I don't know. I think people that make fun of it and things like that almost have had some experiences that they just don't even want to face, and so they are so quick to bash it. But you would find out if you sat down and talked to them, they'd say, oh my God, I've had stuff happen to me since I was a kid, and they just don't want to believe it. That's their way of denying it. But look what just happened, in the past, 18 months where the Navy confirms, yep, these UFO videos that were released by Tom DeLonge and this team that's, it's been on the Black Vault and these other sites before, but they're proving it's real. UFOs are real. We don't know who's driving these things, what they're doing. So for me, I see this unraveling happening, where the greater public, the mainstream media now, right, New York Times and CNN, they're posting all these different articles and stories about this stuff that 5 years ago they would be making fun of it. But more and more scientists are coming forward. The guy that just won a Nobel Peace Prize for physics took the opportunity, was accepting his award, to say that he believes that aliens exist. So people are starting to kind of come forward and using their platforms to do that. And that's something that I'm just trying to do it because I have no organizational affiliation, anything. I don't care if I get left out of the room. It doesn't bother me at this point. I think initially coming out it did. I didn't want to be, embarrassed or made fun of and that stuff. But then after a while, it's like, this is really happening. This is something I experienced, and there's others that have experienced this, and this is just the reality that people are going to have to start to accept. And I think, Bigfoot is right around the corner where UFOs are real. That's been confirmed. I think we're going to get to that point where people are going to shift and go, all right, so what about Bigfoot? What about all these other things? And there'll be more serious scientific studies that are going to go into this, and more people, I think, independently collaborating and working together to find the answers.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that because, I don't know. I just feel like, I don't know, man. I feel like the Tom DeLonge stuff to the stars thing, I know that it's real, and I feel like, so I got into it with Stephen Bassett about this, right? Because I said, I know that what they're showing us is, kind of UFOs, right? It's like UFO just means unidentified flying object, but it feels to me like, I don't know why, but it feels to me like they're just trying to control the information. Instead of just coming out with it, they're doing their own thing through certain people, trying to control the information. But either way, on that note, I would totally agree with you that either way, it does feel like some form of progress is being made. That's what it feels like. Yeah,
I think we've all we've read about some people who've lived through it longer than us that have seen this kind of like, hey, we're going to tell you, no, we're not. Hey, we're going to tell you, no, we're not.
Yeah.
And Grant Cameron, we had him on my podcast, Monsterland podcast with Matty, and he believes this is just another. He believes that it feels like it's just another one of these things, but he also feels like we're at a tipping point that there's such a swell of people wanting to understand and know about this that it's kind of happened. Like the people are finally ready to hear it. And I don't think they are. Because I think that there's a reason why it's been held back for so long. This technology, whether it's some kind of secret lost information or what have you, who knows, but I feel like they either don't really truly understand everything that's going on, or you're right, they're trying to control the narrative, and this is just another kind of attempt to try to lead us in a different direction. Who knows? But I hope we're heading in the truth direction.
Either way, we did shake them up enough to, I feel like, that, they had to do something. Ronnie LeBlanc is our guest tonight. Go check out the website, RonnieLeBlanc.com, Monsterland, Encounters with UFOs, Bigfoot and Orange Orbs. We're going to talk about some stuff that Ronnie may be doing for us in the future, too, when we come back right after this.
Listening to The Fringe FM. I'm Ryan Gable, and I want to remind you to keep your radio, phone, tablet, or computer tuned to The Fringe FM, and visit the website thefringe.fm to listen to the entire lineup of shows. You can also catch my broadcast, The Secret Teachings, Monday through Friday, beginning at 12 a.m. midnight U.S. Pacific Time, right here on The Fringe FM.
Alex.
Hi, I'm Alex Exum, and you're listening to The Fringe FM.
OMG! People are jumping on board to the Life Change Tea Regiment. Brew, steep, and drink for a gentle, taste-great cleanse. It's changing how they feel. See what everybody's talking about. Log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Life Change Tea aids in digestive slowdown and helps people get moving down a healthy path. We won't make claims. We'll just let you decide. Experience is much better than a commercial anyway. If you want results, log on to getthetea.com and purchase your super strength cleansing tea. You won't be disappointed. And if you're looking for some mind-body suggestions, go to YouTube and punch in the search bar Health Matters Now. That's Health Matters Now. Put power into your health now. So, getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com for super strength tea. And YouTube, Health Matters Now. That's Health Matters Now for valuable suggestions. Getthetea.com. The tea that makes you go.
This is Reverend John M. Polk. Please visit me at johnpolkmedia.com and visit my show, Quantum Hologram Matrix, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, every Tuesday on thefringe.fm.
Hey, Fringe FM listeners, did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or no Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of the Fringe FM by calling 701-719-3971. No smartphone app or internet needed. Saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Call 701-719-3971. That's 701-719-3971. Listen to the Fringe FM on any phone, anytime, anywhere.
Alright everyone, this is Justin from the UK. Excuse the chitty. If you're into the Fringe and you want to hear the brass tacks, my old china plate, Joe Roop and his guests on Light in the Void will open your mince pies. You need to shut your north and south and use your 10-speed gears and listen to them bubble. You could hear a Barry Crocker, no Brussel, but he ain't no holy friar. Anyway, you be the Barnaby Rudge and take a butcher's.
Hey, is that a new music app?
Yeah, check it out. Surfer Music Discovery. It links to thousands of online stations, but the twist is you see the song names and artists that are now playing live.
That's different. No guessing. Looks like a waterfall of music.
So many formats. Rock, oldies, country, R&B, jazz, and a whole lot more.
How's that spelled?
Surfer. S-U-R-F-R.
Is it expensive?
It's free. No need to sign up or sign in.
Get the Surfer Music app free from Google Play or the App Store.
Hola, Fringe listeners. This is Dave Cruz of Beyond the Strange, and you're listening to The Fringe FM.
You're listening to Lighting the Void. The call-in number is 1-800-588-0335. If you would like to text, you can text in at 501-777-5631.
Thank you, Sammy. Tonight, we're here with Ronnie LeBlanc. I want you guys to kind of check out the podcast, too, because I think you're picking up, you got a lot of fans, man, because when I know, you know, I don't like talking about success and stuff. We like to talk about the stories, but I think you are actually reaching a lot of people, Ronnie, because when we made the announcement like that you were coming on the show, a lot of people really dig your work, and I don't know if it's, do you think it's awesome because the book or the podcast or both?
I'm hoping it's both. The podcast has been kind of a companion to the book, and it's turned into its own kind of monster, if you will, because it's become, I think, a mixture of both, my personality and Matty's, and, he's an actor and a comedian. And I love, spending time with him, hanging out. And I think we make a good team when we do it. I think it's been resonating with people where it's like, hey, I want to tune into this and learn some stuff, and then also laugh at the same time and have fun. So it's been great.
Yeah, I'm on the podcast page too, which is pod617.com / what is it, Monsterland podcast?
Yeah.
Is that it? Okay.
Yeah, just Monsterland, yeah.
And on here, it's pretty interesting stuff. The technology is powered by Dory. I've never seen this before. It's a Dory interactive podcast. What is that? Just curious.
So it's something, a partner with Pod 617, a Dory, and it's basically it's taking podcasts to the next level where you have it on your phone and you're listening to, say, your show or my podcast, but there's nothing really happening. And what it does is it takes, so if I say something like Michael Jackson or whatever, it will search Google and index an image of Michael Jackson and pull it up instantaneously as you're listening. So then you start seeing different, so if we're talking about a certain location or what have you, and then you can kind of manually manage that as well and put in different images, say if you're talking about whatever. So it's kind of endless of what you can do, and it's just something fun that we've incorporated into our podcast, and we're kind of testing it out to see, where its capabilities and what are some other things that we can kind of do with this will be fun.
Yeah, interesting. I'd like to check that out, because anything that makes the show more fun, that's always good, right? That's definitely
good. For sure.
You got a thing on here that's like, I think this was September 19th, where you guys recorded an EVP session in Matty's home. That's weird, right?
Yes.
That just pop up out of nowhere.
Yeah, it was weird, and that was after same house we were did the show with you. June? You just mentioned June, right?
Yeah.
Last year, and we he was hearing footsteps in his house, and so his wife confided in him. She's like, "Yeah, I've been hearing those footsteps when I've been home alone and no one's here." And she's like, "Oh no!" And he's, Matty, he just starts to freak out about it. He loves this stuff, but at the same time, it terrifies him. And so I was like, "Hey, coming over, and like, why don't we maybe we can do an EVP thing?" Yeah, I was like, "Oh my God, that'd be great." So we did that, and I thought he would feel better. People listen. We heard something on there. We kind of, I think, we debunked it. But initially, when he heard nothing, he goes, "I'm even more terrified now." I'm like, what are you talking about? Because now he thinks we've, stirred something up in his house. He can have more activity. So it just turned into a whole other thing. But we have a lot of fun, and we're actually we're taking our podcast on the road. Tomorrow we're leaving for Salt Fork State Park in Cambridge, Ohio, for Creature Weekend, which is a Bigfoot conference. And Bob Gimlin, who was with Patterson, the Patterson-Gimlin film, and they shot the Bigfoot creature, Bluff Creek in 1967, is celebrating his 88th birthday on Friday, and it's going to be I think it's like the 52nd anniversary of the video of that film. So we're on the road heading to Ohio and going to make a few stops along the way, but heading to this conference and going to spend some time with Bob Gimel and have him on the show. So it should be pretty fun.
What do you think? You think that's real? Those shots are real?
I do. And I've met Bob. I've talked to him before, and I do feel that, he says the film speaks for itself. He did see that. He did experience that. It is real, and he has similar belief systems on some of the stuff of what the Apaches consider them to be somewhat of a spiritual nature. And I think we're all due for some real good definitive footage. it still stands up, I think, scrutiny over time. But I think everyone's dying to see something that is just like, this is new, this is, unbelievable, undeniable footage. And I think it is coming. I think we're going to get something that's going to be, wow,
Now, have you yourself had like that UFO experience? But I think it was, you just mentioned it back in, it was at June the 15th last year when I talked to you. You had that UFO experience. Have you seen any UFOs since then?
I had a similar experience, same type thing. Took my daughters to a Halloween type event, and we're outside, and I literally just looked up at the stars and looking, and then I saw another one of those star-like objects just cruising across the sky and way, way, way up. I mean, we're out in the middle of these woods, so there's no real light pollution, so you can see really deep into the sky. And this thing was moving at the same clip that we had seen, and this is not a satellite. This thing is cruising, and no one cared. It's like, hey, look at this. People look up and they look back down at their phones. So, it's just
I've seen one of those too, actually. Ones that are moving like they're way up, but they're moving fast, like really fast.
Yes. Yeah. It's something, and it's not something that just burns out. It is a craft, something physical that is moving across, and it seems to be right up there, 80,000 feet or so.
Way up there. I saw one of those last spring, actually, when we were out watching for meteors. We went out in the field, and my dad was out there. He'd come over, and we both looked up at the same time, and we saw this little dot, and it kind of looked like it was in deep space, but when it moved across it moved across the sky like a pencil was drawing something. That's how fast it moved, and it went from horizon to horizon, and I asked him, I said, did you see that? And he goes, yeah, I saw it. So I know it's real if my pop said he saw it, because usually he's like, nah, that's just in your imagination, right? And I said, what was that? That couldn't have been a satellite. Satellites don't move like that. He goes, I don't know what it was, son. I don't understand how he could just blow it off, There's something up there, man, moving like it's not supposed to be.
How big do you think that was? Because, it seems to be up there the size of a star, right? It looks to be the same size, but it's like, that's got to be pretty big. If it's way, way up there and you're seeing it like that, it's got to be a big craft.
What the weird thing about it is that the trajectory of it, it seemed like it almost seemed unreal how straight and how fast it was moving. You know how some people tell you they've looked up and they've seen grid lines or stuff like that in the sky. It looked like it was on a grid line, so to speak, and it was just moving that quick, like you were tracing a line or something on a piece of paper as fast as you could.
That's interesting. That's interesting because like with the orange orbs, remember I was saying my first experience is they were following. One was leading the other, they're on this trajectory, this intelligently controlled, but it's interesting, you mentioned that line, it's going in this, it's on a track. And if you've ever seen some of these orb photos of white orbs in someone's house, there seems to be a trackway that appears in the photos before and after, almost as if it seems like it's the light, the ball of light is creating this
like a tracer
of some but it almost seems like it's a train track type thing where you're seeing I don't know, it's hard to describe. It's almost like you're seeing so many photos. I see the same thing. It's like you're seeing past, present, and future all at once in the way, and they're following this line or this they talk about super string theory or what have you, that everything is this grid or this matrix. And are these just moving along these lines of energy, and they're moving across. And
man, I got a feeling that's going to be
more questions.
That's going to be one of those things that we're not going to figure out until we die. I just got this weird feeling when we die, we're going to look back into Earth and go, oh, okay. I remember. Okay, this was an illusion. You know, like I don't know why I feel that, but I do. I feel that deep in my gut for some reason.
You feel like this whole thing is an illusion.
Yeah, like because all these people that talk about the stuff they see, man, the interfaces, and then we've had people come on here that have taken like DMT and stuff like 600 something times, you know, and these people are really, they're messing with their consciousness, right? Like Dick Kahn, he wrote a book about it. He had 600 DMT experiences, right? And not all of those were breakthroughs, but a bunch of them were. And then you hear these other people talking about how once they go to break through, they can hear voices, almost like people are moving or talking around them or something, and they see grid lines, like crosses and grid lines, like they're in some type of machine or something, you know.
Assimilation, yeah, you know, like it keeps on popping in my head when Elon Musk it might have been like a year or so ago, might have been after we did the show together, where he's, you know, we could be living in this simulation, and I look at video games, right, and we've seen that transition of how much better the video games have gotten. Where it's like, wow, that looks even so much real than it did 5 years ago. And I often wonder, you know, where is this heading? Does it just bleed into reality? And maybe that's what this is, you know? Virtual reality, we're seeing that where you I don't know if the dawn goes on, but it's like you kind of start to feel like, whoa, I'm getting kind of lost, and you're shifted.
Yeah.
So maybe that is this is the ultimate game. You know, we have our own avatar that we find out that's kind of running the show, and we're here to learn something and win $1 million at the end of the day.
Man, I got to tell you, it feels like that sometimes. It sure does. It feels like a sick game sometimes, you know, and then it's fun sometimes. But I'm also wondering, because we talk about, you know, consciousness exploration on the show quite a bit, that you mentioned earlier in the broadcast, like you and Matty were both looking at the same things, but you saw different things. And I wonder sometimes if we get awakened to certain things, like say you may see an orange orb like everybody else, but somebody at a different state of consciousness is seeing something else entirely. Have you ever had any buddy talk to you about that, like in your research?
Yeah, I mean, even think of it like, you know, you can't see something with your naked eye, but then you take a picture and then you look on there later and then there's an orb in the photo. And it's kind of similar. I feel like, yeah, some people are maybe starting to tune into these other frequencies and see other things that are somewhat hidden, or maybe there are some things allowing them to see these things. I've wondered that where some people will see one thing and others will see another. But I've also been in situations where everyone had seen the same thing. So I had mentioned Cape Cod experience where I knew they were going to show up, and just had this feeling that we're going to see an orange orb or two tonight, you know. And I was sitting on the deck outside of our hotel right by the water, and there's a group of people below us, 12 people. And again, I get the vibe that these people are from me. That was kind of like that message, like they're from my neck of the woods. And I'm facing the water, and my wife is sitting opposite of me. We're playing cards, and it's like 10 o'clock at night. And I look over the water, and all of a sudden I see an orange orb going from left to right, cruising, same size, fastball, cruising across the water, and silent. And I'm like, oh my God, you know, Amy, turn around. She didn't want to look because she knew that there was a orb there. She's like, unbelievable. Like,
I don't want to see it.
Stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I ran downstairs to go grab binoculars out of my truck. And I ran by the people that were down below us out on the grass. And I noticed they all had cameras, and they all had, a couple of them had binoculars. And I was like, what the hell? And they go, do you know what that is? And I said, that's an orange orb. I'm like, what the hell's an orange orb? And so I ran to my truck, and the book had just come out, maybe a month or 6 weeks before that. And I grabbed the book and ran back with binoculars and the book, and I showed him the book. And one of the guys looked at it and saw the title, Orange Orbs, and he freaked out and went running. And we all kind of laughed, but we watched this thing fade off. And I said, stick around. I go, there's going to be another one coming. And sure enough, another one was following that same line. So you talked about that line when you had that UFO sighting with your dad. And these things are following that same line. So maybe there's these energy lines that are, only here on Earth, but up top they're kind of following along. But I ended up talking to these guys.
Like a computer grid or something,
Yeah. And I started talking to these guys, and I found out they're from Fitchburg, which is the next town over. And they're like, this is about Munster and Monsterland, and they're blown away. Again, it was that synchronicity event, again, where I had the feeling they're going to show up. They did. I had the feeling with these people that were from where I was from, and that they're watching. They saw it before. They saw these orbs come in the same path. So they had set up their table, and they were sitting outside waiting for them to show up. And it was just weird, like how those things all come to play, where it's not only seeing them, but then what the context of what's happening at that time when you're seeing them, or what you're saying before, that plays into it, that has something to do with consciousness. It is connected there.
So you get a gut feeling before these things happen, or some type of intuition every time, it seems like.
I wouldn't say every time, but a couple of times. Another one was, they say the biggest days for UFO sightings, and especially orange orbs, are on 4th of July and New Year's Eve, because we are shooting up fireworks, usually in those two holidays, and we're looking up at the sky. And they've often wondered, hey, are they interested in what these things are doing when they're seeing these flashes of light come in the sky, or they come and check it out? But I had gone to a 4th of July celebration. That was before the 4th of July, actually. And it was during the day, and it was starting to turn dusk, but it was still blue sky out. And I saw one coming through, and I brought my binoculars, expecting, again, to see something at this thing, because it was the 4th of July, or close to it. And my friend that I was with, we brought our families, our kids, wives, and he grabbed the binoculars from me and was watching this thing. And I said, describe to me what you're seeing. And he goes, it's a ball of fire, an orange orb, and it's not a Chinese lantern. There's no bag. It's a circle, and it's moving across the sky. And he watched it through the binoculars when it disappeared. Like it went behind some invisible wall. It just disappeared. And guess what? Another one shows up like 2 minutes later. Same thing. You watch. There, I think, a total of 3 that showed up, and then that was done. But just having another witness there with me, seeing it, the one was facing the stage the other direction before the band had even started playing, and we're facing the other way where these things were flying over. And again, this is another situation where there's a crowd of people, and these things are flying right above them, and either they're not seeing it, or they're just not interested, and they're not supposed to see it. Who knows? But it's amazing that there's all these people around, and only a few people are actually experiencing or witnessing what's actually happening and thinking it's significant.
There's a lot more to this that I'm going to keep investigating too, because even in like the realms of magic and the occult, or let's just say mysticism, Daskalos, a mystic of a book that I read, he talks about creating balls of energy, right? I talked to Adam Apollo, and he talked about creating balls of energy. Now, these balls of energy, I think, are just, I don't know if they're in our mind, but there's some next level, I think, that we can get to, or that something can get to, where they can create these things that maybe we're shut off from. That's what I'm getting at. Like, we can feel the energy, we can do things with it, we can even use our imagination and visualize these balls of energy or whatever, but we haven't got to the point where we can create them, you know. And I think there's other entities out there that can. There's just too many damn sightings and people talking about orange orbs, orange orb attacks. Now, this stuff goes, I mean, maybe you can correct me here, but the orange orb thing goes way back. It goes back years and years, doesn't it?
It does. I mean, there are descriptions of the Foo Fighters, which seem to be that same phenomenon that's happening. And but I think it even goes back further. Like, you look at, you know, again, this is speculation, but if you read the Bible and look at certain stories with the lens of like a UFO lens and kind of reading it through that way, it seems crazy. Like, you know, Paul seeing the blinding light, or, you know, Saul turns into Paul, and the Star of Bethlehem,
the burning bush,
exactly. Just gonna say it, the burning bush, yeah. And so, is this the same thing that's been in our human history, but has come in different forms? Like we were talking earlier about, you know, the shape shifting. And yeah, I'm with you on this. You know, do we have? You know, we talk about this junk DNA, right, that humans have, that there's no need for this. But maybe that has something to do with these abilities that we once had that were psychic, you know, that were, you know, mental telepathy that certain people seem to have, the ability to remote view. I think, like, we all have this, you know, consciousness can be, right, expanded everywhere, anywhere in the universe if it's conscious.
Right.
And so there's a web to that. There's a connection, and that means that we can access that, whether it's through, like the shamans talk about, through the dream world, where we're actually, that's the real world and this is the dream, you know. And if reality is like real, then yeah, we can maybe manifest things and create things out of thin air, like these balls of energy, you know. Yeah,
there was a book by, you might be familiar with, but it's kind of newer to me. I just found out about it, by Terry Ray, who he was a MUFON investigator, and it's called what was it called? The Complete Story of something about the invasion of orange orbs, right?
The worldwide invasion of orange orbs, a complete story. And I referenced his work in Monsterland, and I looked at others, researchers like him, and this is a fascinating story. You know, here's a MUFON investigator that is looking at the data. He's looking at these sites, and what he starts to notice is this pattern of these orange orbs that, you know, when we give a UFO sighting, like you had with your dad, what we had with Matty, there was a ball of light. It wasn't a flying saucer or a spaceship. You know, it was a circle ball of light, a sphere. And depending on how that gets classified with these UFO reporting sites, is how someone's going to search. So someone's going to search for UFO, whatever. They may not get this, but he started to see this pattern forming with these orange balls of light. and what happened to him, he's a pilot. He's a researcher and investigator. I think he's also an attorney. And he had a sighting of 8 orange orbs off the balcony of his hotel deck on vacation, I think it was, too. And so he started to have these experiences with them on a personal level as he's researching them. But he brought this information to the guys at MUFON, and they laughed at him about this whole orange orb theory. And he believes that there's bases off of Catalina Islands and another one off the East Coast. And what are we hearing now from Tom DeLonge and his crew and others, that they're, you know, the Nimitz, the ship was over a restricted area off the coast of San Diego, and they could have very well been over a base, and that's why these Tic Tac UFOs, these other objects, were checking out and flying around. Yeah, so there could be something to that.
Yeah, there's a deep history here. We can talk more about that too, and I do want to mention, I forgot to, but we're at the half mark here at the bottom. I wanted to talk about what you got going on in the future as well, Ronnie, when we come back. We'll be right back.
Thanks for listening to this broadcast. Need another late night fix? You can tune in every weeknight to Lighting the Void with Joe Roop on The Fringe FM.
Hi, this is David Oman with HouseAtTheEndOfTheDrive.com. You're listening to KTLK, The Fringe FM.
I like to listen to Lighting the Void because of the guests, the content, and the host, Joe Roop. He's smart, he's intelligent, and he seems to ask the questions that we all have on our mind. We're all searching for the truth, and Joe helps us get closer to it. I love this show. I love this show. I love this show. Lighting the Void.
What's up, Joe? Hey, man, I just wanted to say your show, dude, keeps getting better and better and better. I love Lighting the Void and The Fringe FM.
Hi, this is Aaron Hunter, host of Real Paranormal Activity, the podcast where we tell real paranormal experiences of people from around the world. And we also conduct interviews with authors, investigators, psychics, and mediums. Real people, real stories, real fear. Thursdays at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern on The Fringe FM. See you then.
Hey, this check is wrong. I worked a holiday and 7 hours of overtime. Not getting paid correctly is a real pain. It could also hurt our boss if our company provides out-of-compliance checks. That's right, construction companies doing business with the government can get fined, or officials of the companies can go to jail if the checks aren't right. It's a law. The Davis-Bacon Act has 30 compliance issues for every check, but there is an easy way for construction companies to be in compliance. EMARS offers Compliant Client, a web-based system that finds and corrects all 30 of the possible out-of-compliance check issues. Users of Compliant Client report an 80% savings in time and money. Running a weekly payroll usually takes about 5 minutes. All 15,000 plus clients of EMARS have never had a legal compliance issue. Plus, they sleep better on check day. Contact EMARS at emarsinc.com or call 480-595-0466.
The Fringe FM isn't just a radio station. We also provide services for all your audio production needs. If you are interested in live radio or pre-recorded podcasts, we're here to help. We even do audio enhancements and voiceovers if needed. If you want to do a podcast or live radio show and even want the option to syndicate on terrestrial radio, from simple audio file enhancement to live production and call screening, we have you covered. We have worked with some of the best professionals in the business in order to provide coaching instruction for content creation, show structure, and more. Contact The Fringe Digital Media for more at info@thefringe.fm. That's info@thefringe.fm. Or call 501-777-5631 for a consultation.
Do you want to know the truth? Are UFOs real? Are aliens visiting Earth? Are governments around the world hiding the biggest secret in history? We're UFO Seekers, official partner of The Fringe FM, and we're on a hunt for the truth. Join us as we investigate locations like Area 51 by subscribing on YouTube at youtube.com/UFO Seekers.
Hey, Fringe FM listeners. Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or no Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of the Fringe FM by calling 701-719-3971. No smartphone app or internet needed. Saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Call 701-719-3971. That's 701-719-3971. Listen to The Fringe FM on any phone, anytime, anywhere.
Hello, this is Vance Nesbitt. Take the time to expand your mind by listening to Lighting the Void with Joe Roop right here on The Fringe FM.
Alex. Hi, I'm Alex Exum, and you're listening to The Fringe FM.
All right, back with Ronnie LeBlanc. We're actually talking about orange orbs. If you go to the website, though, his website is RonnieLeBlanc.com. LeBlanc, B-L-A-N-C. Now, this is a phenomenon that's been happening for a long time. I think it's interesting to actually look at the history of this, because the only common denominator about these orange orbs that I'm finding, Ronnie, is the fact that we don't know what they are. That's it. It's just one of those things, like, right. It's there enough to know that there's something to it. Now, what I'm seeing here, though, is it's been supposedly debunked. Some people said it's flares, helium balloons, ball lightning. The conspiracy theorists, they call it, what do they call it? Plasma ball weapons from DARPA. Even MUFON doesn't even classify them as UAVs. They call them unknown others in their reports. That's what they call them. So,
right. So imagine that classification if that was accurate. How many of those reported UFO sightings are actually those orange orbs? I bet you it's incredibly high.
Exactly, right. And what I want to be clear here, too, is there a difference between these silent orbs in our skies or the small orbs that you see with paranormal investigators with ghosts and stuff? Mm-hmm. Is there a difference, number one?
Right.
And even in, like, I think it says here, in 2008, the British Ministry of Defense released their so-called X-Files. I don't know if you guys remember that. And among the generous amount of information released was a huge nugget of information about orange orbs. But they called them, I guess, UAPs even then, or UFOs in that report, and said that they don't know what it is. They exist. It's undisputable that they exist, but they have no idea what it is. So, come on. I mean, we got to be past the point of UFOs exist, okay? Hopefully everybody's past that point by now.
Right, and you know, I think, do we find out what these things are? You know, I think that's definitely the next step up the stairway here, you know, to find out what are these angels? Are these the shapeshifters that they've always talked about throughout time? You know, these guardians of Earth or what have you.
Well, shapeshifters, God, that's a freaky idea, right? But
isn't it?
It could be, man. It just, I don't know if I could deal with reality if there was such thing as shape-shifting things, man. I don't know if I would go outside anymore.
Are you familiar with Jeff Woolwine?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Okay, so a lot of the stuff that he's getting, it's like these strange lights and these, like, snake-like objects. They look like living beings, like something that you'd see in the ocean, but in the sky, like as above, so below kind of thing, you know? Yeah. But these things seem alive, and it's fascinating because they seem to be more prevalent, or more people are looking for them or looking to film these things.
You know, last time I talked to him, now Jeff Woolwine, he's been researching UFOs for a long time, hadn't he? If I remember correctly.
A long time, yes. Yeah. He's one of the first to really start bringing it to TV. I think the first season of Ancient Aliens, he was doing stuff with them.
Okay. All right. You know, what I'm starting to think is, like when Nineveh Shadrach came on the show, he talked about the jinn. He said the jinn they will show up in physical form. They'll even show up as fire sometimes. They'll heat things up. They'll knock things over, right? They'll do all kinds of stuff. And then we've got these reports of, I don't even know if this is connected, but spontaneous combustion, right? Like human spontaneous combustion.
Ooh, yeah.
Just really weird stuff. But there are thousands of newspaper clippings of sightings of orange orbs that go back to the 30s, 40s, you know.
Way before DARPA.
Right, yeah. So DARPA's out on this one. I don't know what they are, but I don't know if they're the jinn or not. Because if they are jinn, then that means that we can invoke them, right? And I don't want people doing that, you know. I've had a couple people on here warn about it.
Yeah. You brought up Terry Ray earlier on your show, who wrote The Complete Worldwide Invasion of the Orange Orbs. And he was talking about I think there was something similar here near Monsterland by Fort Jevons, but that these orange orbs have also been seen. You know, you mentioned DARPA, a metallic ball without like this plasma fire around it has been seen over Fort Jevons. They had a sighting in 52, I believe, but they had 8 orange orbs over the course of 12 hours fly over the military base, which was also an air base at that time. The Air Force didn't separate yet. And, so they saw a metallic ball hovering as well. And that could have been something completely different. So that's something interesting. So that could be something, you know, there's I think Terry believes that they are these kind of metal and they're surrounded by something, but people see these things just kind of disappear and vanish, you know, and I guess maybe they could do that if this Tic Tac UFO and something that can just vanish and disappear, or interdimensionally just kind of transform, shapeshift.
Yeah, but didn't you say that when you guys saw that one UFO, didn't you say it turned red too?
Yeah, so Matty said that he saw it flare up, like it turned red, and at that same time is when I saw a bright flash of white light in the sky where that star-like object was moving. And to me, it didn't seem to come from the object itself, but it seemed to go by another similar object hiding in the sky. So it went by it like almost like, hey, how you doing? Beat the torn kind of thing.
Yeah,
but
right.
It flashed where, and you hear about abduction encounters where there's a bright white flash, and it's like, okay, then something happens. And it was almost like, that happened, but only I saw it, and Matty didn't. And that's odd to me that he didn't see that flash, but he saw the red, and maybe I saw, you know, maybe that was the bright flash was the after effect of the red light that he saw, but it just didn't make sense.
Well, I wanted to, the reason why I asked is because earlier, you know, we asked, like, how far back does this go, right? So there is a record in the Kapunda Herald in Australia, March 16th of 1880, okay? And it says, that's a long time ago, for us it is, right? And it says, a resident of this town informs us that a strange phenomenon occurred on Monday morning, March 15th. At 5 minutes to 4 o'clock, a star appeared to be burning brightly in the northeastern heavens about 45 degrees above the horizon. Immediately afterwards, it shot with an immense rapidity towards the southwest, but became motionless. While still high above the horizon, it burned fitfully with a reddish glare for a quarter of an hour, and then slowly set in the southwest as brilliant as it was when it first appeared. It started out like an orange brightest star and then turned red and stayed that way.
Wow.
And there's an even older one in 1676 here. That's I don't know where they got this information, so I'm just going to assume that this is okay, right? But it says in Offenburg, a comet has been seen which looked like a flaming sword with a blade pointing to the west. Alongside it was a star and 2 bloody red spheres. I've never seen anything like that either. That was from the Extraordinaires, I don't know, Extraordinaires Mandolin Relationnaire of April 1676. So, yeah, this stuff's been going on for a long while.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think I'm kind of with you. I feel like I want to believe that we will find out what these things are, but maybe we don't until we depart, like you said, and then you think, oh, okay, that's what it was.
Well, we've got to start, like, Bruce Fenton was on here, and he had made a good point, Ronnie, like, we got to start investigating this properly. I'm not saying anything against MUFON or anything like that, but if we can get some real money behind this, like government stuff, where they can break it down into sectors. I mean, Bruce Fenton made a good point. Like, you wouldn't investigate a new species without breaking it down into different areas. Like, a certain scientist is specializes in one area, like biology. Then you got another one in metals, and because that's how they do research, anyways, on this stuff. But we're not looking at it like that right now. We're just at this point to where we know they exist, and we're getting something from a rock star and whatever they're building, which is cool. But we've got to. I think we need more than that. We need more, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think some kind of unification with whether it's 6 different universities that are working on this thing, and with the government or what have you. But then I think people would then assume this is going to be a whole other Project Blue Book kind of thing where they're going to lie about the data and. But I agree that something needs to change because what we've been doing hasn't been working. No, it hasn't been. And I'm glad that, like you said earlier, that you're doing your thing so you can bring this out into the public sphere. And I like the way you're doing it because you're doing it in a very professional manner. I think I have no qualms against hobbyists, but professionals get stuff done, like it's hard to explain this. I think when you take a professional approach to this, you get more respect and you get treated with respect. If you look at the whole storming Area 51 thing, people think that's a joke, but that really hurt the UFO community. Things like that hurt the UFO community, in my opinion. What do you think? Yeah, I think it's a double-edged sword because I feel like it brought some awareness to the subject, but it also hurt it where, you're right, it then deemed like, okay, whoever is a part of this or going to be a part of this or going to go there is not smart. They're going to attack and, try to invade a military base or what have you. So it automatically kind of labels the type of people that believe in this stuff aren't really that smart. At least that's how it would come off. And I think that's how people interpreted it. So, it went crazy where Bud Light is, creating a beer and doing all this other stuff. But yeah, it definitely, I think, hurt. But you need something like that kind of mass event, like a movement type thing like that, to, I think, see some kind of change or that shift. But I think it did a little bit of damage because nothing really happened. A bunch of people showed up. People got arrested, and then there's another group that were miles away trying to create a festival, Mm-hmm. So we'll see if this is something that repeats, next year, and they start doing something that becomes something else. But yeah, I think there needs to be a more, and people even question what I'm doing is professional.
Well, I think it's very professional. I mean, the way you're going about it, especially the way you're going about it, it's very professional. It's respectable to me. It's also fun, and that's good. Jason quit when we talked to him. He said, look, we gotta stop being so serious all the time and also try to find different aspects, even use humor if we got to reach out, to get people to understand this stuff. And he's more of in the consciousness side of things, but he's also into ufology too. And, you know, speaking of that, your book is, somebody in the chat room, Night Stalker, I think, said he's going to buy it because you're up there from where he's at. He wants to read it. But your book, Monsterland, is pretty popular. Are you currently working on another book? I just want to be clear. I hope you are.
I am. You know what? I just finished my second book, which is a continuation of this. It's more encounters with saucers, Sasquatch, and high strangeness, and it's really kind of a continuation of my journey through this whole thing, being in Monsterland, living here, and hearing more stories from people that live around the area that I'm going to share, and also the ride and adventure that the podcast has taken on, and some of the new stuff that I've been doing with TV, which is a whole new world for me, which again has been a lot of fun.
God, it looks like fun, man. It looks like you're having a blast. And TV's kind of picked up too. The Travel Channel and History Channel, all these different channels, they're really getting involved with it more. I feel like I'm kind of worried though. And here's why.
I know.
You know, like when TV gets involved with everything, right? Then you're like, okay, what's are we going to miss the real story, right? And
yeah,
I know you're not that way because I've actually seen you on TV a couple times. I don't think, you're not like that. But we just had an experience here on this show where, you know, Tim from UFO Seekers got his footage used. And look, it wasn't easy for him to get up to Tickaboo Peak and take that footage of Area 51. But if you look on Google and search Area 51, the images you find 9 times out of 10, they're going to be his, you know. And the way it was used on that TV show, it was like it didn't even belong to him. It was like somebody else did it, you know. And it just, yeah, man, it just didn't like feel right to me. And then they got the Project Blue Book show where they're just kind of retelling the story. If we get back to what we used to do, like where somebody interviews you, like kind of like they did with you, what was it, on the Travel Channel, where they just interview you and you get to tell your side of things. That's what I think needs to happen more.
Yeah, agreed. And, the Travel Channels definitely seems to be paving the way for this subject matter. They're doing a lot more stuff with Bigfoot, with UFOs, with this whole area and history. I mean, they seem to be hand in hand with Tom DeLonge here. And it is something to kind of pay attention to, but I think this is where that tipping point is, I think, happening. All of the top grossing movies the past 25 years, typically these blockbusters have to do with aliens and Independence Day and Men in Black and all these different things.
Yeah.
But TV is still a powerful vehicle. I think it's even more powerful now with the ability to stream and people have access from all over the world. It's still a vehicle to reach the masses, to kind of educate or at least bring some awareness. So I'm excited to kind of, Monsterland has kind of gone from being a book to doing stuff with the radio and doing a podcast to now doing stuff that's TV that is great because it's allowing me to spread the word a little bit more and connect. And my favorite thing is aligning and connecting with other researchers and learning what they're doing and collaborating and sharing data and that kind of stuff. I think is really what's going to really change this whole thing.
If there was a researcher that inspires you, or that you would really say, I admire this researcher when it comes to this stuff, who would it be?
John Keel.
John Keel. Okay.
Yeah, I would just say, just because of if you think of where he was in that time period, for him to come out and write the books that he did and do the research that he did and kind of share some of these theories that he had before anybody really were talking about him. I think he was a pioneer, and so I really equate my experience kind of like that same kind of road where it's like, I'm not really sure I want this, but it seems to be like when I try to get away from it, it comes back. There's a new show that I'm a part of on Travel Channel, which they're going to announce on Monday, coming up here on the 21st. And it kind of came out of nowhere in a way where I was talking to my wife, like, you know, I've been doing the Monsterland thing, and, you know, the book's only been out for 3 years, but 7 years prior to that, I've been living and breathing this thing, and just living in this area and experiencing this stuff. But it takes a toll on you. It takes a toll on your family life, your personal life. You know, something that I was kind of like, you know, I think I'm going to take a little breather after this. And literally it was like 2 days after I had made this decision, and then, hey, you want to be a part of this opportunity? And I was like, whoa, okay. And just seeing the significance of what I could be a part of, which I'm excited to start talking about next week and
wow.
going forward. And yeah, so it's just been a crazy ride where it's like, okay, you know, maybe this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And it continues to, you know, doors continue to open up. And I decided that, I'm going to walk through. What the hell?
Yeah, we got your back here too, man, on the Fringe FM.
Thank
too.
you, brother.
So it's like, you know that. And the thing about it is you know, I've experienced that too, man. Like, this stuff will dig into your personal life. You can't put, you only got so much energy and attention you can do, right? And
right.
I think those times, like when those things happen, when you have those epiphanies, like, man, what am I going to do? Or am I going to quit doing this? Or do I need to spend more time with my loved ones? Or what? It's during those times, I really believe, based on my experience and what you're telling me, that the universe kind of steps in and says, nope, you know, you need to stay the course, you know.
Yeah, for sure. It's this journey for me has been a spiritual one. It's just been, I think, an awakening that there are other realms that are intersecting with our own, that have been for eons, beginning of time, and quite possibly, and you know, maybe we will learn about where they are, who they are, or maybe we don't. Maybe that remains the big mystery that we're all supposed to kind of discover. But I always think back to, like, Genesis. The first line is like, "He created the worlds," with an S. And, you know, you think of maybe planets is the first thing, but when I read that, I think of dimensions, and I think of multiple worlds. And so, you know, if angels exist, if jinn exists, they have to reside somewhere in some plane, right? All these other things, where are they coming from, where are they zipping off to and hiding in? There's these other realms that are around us, or in this grid.
Man, that is so cool too. And you told me, am I really? So did you mention the show? Like, mention talking to me in your new book? Please tell me you did, because I need that. I love an ego boost. Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, it gives me a good ego boost. Listen, I'll tell you what I'm willing to do. If any of you guys actually have an experience you want to share with Ronnie right now, you can call in at 1-800-588-0335, and I'll get you a free copy of Monsterland, because you need it, right? So
yeah, baby.
Yeah, we'll be right back. Ronnie LeBlanc. Man, this thing.
Joseph Roop is your host. Pull back the blinds and uncover the truth. This is Lighting the Void Radio.
You're listening to the Fringe FM.
Somewhere between abnormal and paranormal, there's a show called Into the Paranormal. I'm Jeremy Scott. Hear me live Saturdays at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern on the Fringe FM.
Hey, I'm J.M. DeBoard, and when I want to talk about dreams, I look up my man Joe Root and his show, Lighting the Void.
The Fringe FM isn't just a radio station. We also provide services for all your audio production needs. If you are interested in live radio or pre-recorded podcasts, we're here to help. We even do audio enhancements and voiceovers if needed. If you want to do a podcast or live radio show and even want the option to syndicate on terrestrial radio, from simple audio file enhancement to live production and call screening, we have you covered. We have worked with some of the best professionals in the business in order to provide coaching instruction for content creation, show structure, and more. Contact The Fringe Digital Media for more at info@thefringe.fm. That's info@thefringe.fm. Or call 501-777-5631 for a consultation.
Listen, I want to tell you about G.I. Joy from GetTheT.com. It's the best alchemical concoction of goodies for your stomach and digestive system I can recommend, and that's all based on my experience. Packed with colostrum, acidophilus, aloe, peppermint, and turmeric. If you do your own research, then you know this is the bee's knees for the stomach and digestion. Now, due to Big Brother's ears and the eye in the sky, you know I can't go into the details about what it helped me with. All I can say is I got relief. It's non-GMO, no fillers, no preservatives, manufactured right here in the US of A, and delivered to you by the only people who stay on top of the game and are out in front. Go grab a bottle of G.I. Joy at GetTheT.com and see what all the fuss is about. Again, that's GetTheT.com.
OMG! People are jumping on board to the Life Change Tea Regiment. Brew, steep, and drink for a gentle, taste-great cleanse. It's changing how they feel. See what everybody's talking about. Log on to GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com. Life Change Tea aids in digestive slowdown and helps people get moving down a healthy path. We won't make claims. We'll just let you decide. Experience is much better than a commercial anyway. If you want results, log on to GetTheT.com and purchase your super strength cleansing tea. You won't be disappointed. And if you're looking for some mind-body suggestions, go to YouTube and punch in the search bar Health Matters Now. That's Health Matters Now. Put power into your health now. So, GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com for super strength tea. And YouTube, Health Matters Now. That's Health Matters Now for valuable suggestions. GetTheT.com. The tea that makes you go.
Hi, this is Sammy. Join us in the Deep South as we're lighting the void with Joe Roop on the Fringe FM.
Right, me old Chiners. I know it's an ad break, but before you lot shoot off and make yourself a cup of Rosie Lee or whatever else it is you're going to sling down your Gregory Peck, you need to listen to me babble. If, like me, you found your way to Lighting the Void via a downloadable podcast, you might want to take a butcher's at the Fringe FM Wind and Kite. You won't Adam and Eve how many other shows there are or what they rabbit on about. Ancient history, conspiracy, the consciousness, the esoteric, the occult, metaphysics, parapolitical, ufology, technology and spirituality, to name but a few. They got featured hosts like Ryan Gable, Jeremy Scott, Alex Exum, Tim Doyle, Cortana and Gigi, Susanna Ross, the Reverend John Polk, Michael Deacon and J.D. Lewis. You might find yourself listening to the thoughts and theories of the author of The Fish you just finished reading. Or you could pick up the dog and bone, call in and tell everyone your own beliefs or experiences. So do me a favour, before you put on the Ansel or crack open a bottle of vino or roll a joint, go to the Fringe FM and see what you're missing.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now. The Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
All right, so what I'm going to do is, if you guys have an experience with these orange orbs, if anybody does, we are going to give away a book here, and you got to call in. It's 1-800-588-0335. You can also call 501-424-5130. If you've actually had an experience with orange orbs, you know, one that we haven't heard before, then we'll give you a book away. And I don't mean email or chat. Usually when I say that, man, people just nail the chat room or send me text or email. Just call in, and then we'll get you a book, send it out immediately. And I want to reiterate, Ronnie, too, this book that you're most well known for, Monsterland. And Monsterland is a place out in, what is it, Leominster, right? I said that right. Leominster. See, I said it again. I said it wrong. I just said it in the break. I was like, Leominster. You're like, nope, that's not it. I feel like I'm in third grade again. Try again, Mr. Roop. You know,
it was hysterical.
But there's been quite a history there, right? That's the whole thing about it.
Yeah. It's. I think everyone has heard of Skinwalker Ranch and these other places, and people really haven't heard of Monsterland. And I think there's a lot of these Monsterlands, all over the country. And a lot of times people are just keeping their experiences and stories to their chest. There's people that have experiences that they haven't shared with their wife, for over 30 years because either their belief systems, religious beliefs or what have you, or their jobs, their occupations that they're in, that if people found out, they're in political office, they'd be done. Their career is over. And it's been, the stories are not only had happened a long time ago, they're happening and continuing to occur today. It's amazing. Just in the past 12 months, I've had 2 different encounters told to me personally from the people that they've had face-to-face encounters with Sasquatch-type creatures in Leominster State Forest and around Leominster State Forest. So it's just mind-boggling.
Well, it's got to be a good book. I mean, you're at a 5-star rating here with 36 ratings. Usually someone will come along just like a hater or something and knock that way down, but that didn't even happen to you, man. So everybody likes the book. And I talked to you about this last time, and I'll bring it up again. The front cover with the eyes. This has been something that people have told me, I think 6 or 7 different times, that's been told to me about eyes that people see too. I don't know if it's Dogman. I don't know what it is, but my buddy Jeff that used to do the news for the show, I mean, this guy doesn't really talk about paranormal stuff ever at all, but he does remember a set of eyes like this that's on the front of your book. He said that was looking through his window in his house, He said, I totally forgot about it too until you showed me the cover of this book. And that was a long time ago. And then I had other people telling me that they saw eyes like that, but it's that same fiery color. That's the weird thing about it. I think there's something to this that is, with this whole jinn thing. I really do.
Yeah. It's, I think even more so, talking to you about it and over the past, I don't know, like the past couple of years, just more and more, just like, man, is this really more spiritual than it is a physical thing turning into, having these abilities. And it seems to be, the jin's starting to make a lot more sense than it had before.
Yeah, it does, because I want to get him back on the show, but the last time I talked to him, he bought his own island. So you imagine like an occultist, right? Hey, imagine a magician that's the last thing I seen him report, that he does some serious, kind of like Stephen Skinner type magical work that I was telling you about. And the last time I saw him post on social media, he was purchasing an island to where that they could go out and do their magic and stuff out there, because he made no qualms about it on the show. He said that, jinn are dangerous. Like they're not going to be nice to you just because you want them to be nice. If you start messing around with them, they can really get into your life and mess up your life. And I don't want anything to do with it. I don't want to. A lot of people come to me and say, you're talking about magic, that stuff's the devil and it's demons and you can really hurt yourself. And then I had an experience with somebody that I feel like just because they were talking to me, man, that things started happening in their house. And I almost wonder sometimes if it's not the fear that is really that this stuff is attracted to. Yeah, exactly. The fuel for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that I've also kind of shifted. I've always gotten into, Buddhism, and I was meditating. And I think that really, when I used to live in California, and I was growing up in a Christian home, so even meditation and yoga were considered to be like, ooh, don't do that, And once you start to understand, stilling the mind and all this, but I think also from this, I've learned that, we can't give fear or have the fear that's going to create or feed these things. And I think since I've done that, it's been less of, and again, I haven't really had this experience where it's been evil or threatening. It's there. It's just something I decided that I don't want to attract myself to it. You know what I mean? I want positive things, and good things to happen. And so I think in that framework, in that mindset, that kind of law of attraction type of thinking. So I try not to go there, but I know it exists, and I'm not blind to it, that there's things that are evil, and that, but I don't, I just choose not to dwell there mentally,
But are somewhat curious about it, though? Like, I'm just wondering, like, do you get...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. See, you're honest about it, though. A lot of people deny that. They'll deny that they're, they don't want to... Like, you're talking about Matty, right? They're really interested in this stuff, but then when it happens, it scares the hell out of them,
That's right. Yeah. And so it's something that it's the yin and the yang, it one needs the other to kind of coexist. And so I try not to look at it where it's so black and white, though, where it's like this is good and evil, but there definitely is those both ends of the spectrum, and there's the in-between. But the last thing I want to do is deny that it doesn't exist, because from just a personal experience level, I know it does. I know there's more to this life and why we're here, and what our true essence is which is spirit. So, we're all connected to that. I'm learning more about that, and I think that's just reaffirming itself with more of the research that I'm starting to dive into. And I've always been into the consciousness and that kind of trying to understand what it is that we are really doing here, and where are we going after this, and where are we really coming from. So these are big questions that I think we're still trying to figure out.
I got people trying to call in from, they're thinking about calling in from Australia, and they're like, yeah, but the shipping here is immaculate, right? It is, man. I've even tried to ship stuff to Canada, and it's like they got some type of thing where it costs $50. Yeah, look, there's a Kindle version of this book too. You guys can get if you want it.
That's right. Yeah.
So God bless Kindle, right? But I like to have me personally, when it comes to books like this, I like to have the book because it's just cool to have it.
Me too. I'll never get sick of buying books. Some of them brings me joy, but I love being able to read it, hold it in my hands. I've never been one to do Kindle. I'll do it if I have to, if that's the only way, but I love holding a book.
Yeah. And I do audio books too. See, that's what I think you should look into, man. You should have somebody read.
It's on the list for sure.
Yeah. It's a pain, though, isn't it? I'm hearing that it's not easy to get done. They should make it easier to get done, because a lot of people talk about how they want to do the audio version, but it ends up, I think it's costly if you get somebody else to read it, and then if you read your own book. I've tried that. Jesus, man, God, that's all the editing and everything, right?
It's something that I've gotten requests. Do you have it on Audible? I'm like, man, I got to do that, and you realize that you have to, once you're done writing a book, there's a whole marketing of it to kind of keep it in the different platforms of how people consume books. And I started toying around with the idea of what if I did a podcast where it was like each episode was a chapter of the book, you know what I mean, as almost like an audio book where you can listen that way. But yeah, it's something, just trying to think of different ways to deliver the message in Audible, and have an audio book is definitely something I need to do on the first one and the new one coming out next month.
I'm good. I'm going to get that book just because I'm vain. I want to see you. I want to read the part where you talk about me in there.
I'll send you that personally. So
hell yeah,
make sure. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So you mentioned earlier your favorite investigator. What was one of the shows that you were really into? Like most people I talked to about this, they had a favorite show that they used to watch. And then I get a feeling like yours probably was maybe, let me guess, Unsolved Mysteries or In Search Of. Which one?
I loved Unsolved Mysteries, In Search Of, but I have a TV show that I don't even think you ever heard of that really influenced me. And it's funny because we're talking about shape-shifting tonight. And see if you can Google this, but have you ever heard of the show called Manimal?
Manimal? No.
Manimal. So I think it was one of the networks. And basically, I think it only lasted maybe 5 or 6 episodes. But I remember watching this thing, and it was like the coolest show ever, where this guy had the ability to shapeshift into different animals. He could shapeshift into like a dolphin or a hawk or whatever, and he's working for some government agency. And for whatever reason, that was just got me into this whole, the mystical and that whole thing of shapeshifting and all that. But that's such an obscure one. But I would say, yeah, In Search Of was that one that was really kind of like get you to really start asking those bigger questions and realize, wow, there's stuff that we do not know, that we're still trying to figure out and discover.
Did they make, so I'm looking at this. This is definitely like a 1980s show. I'm thinking like Knight Rider, that kind of stuff.
Right. Yes.
Did they make a remake of this? Like I'm seeing Will Ferrell here and Adam McKay talking about they were going to remake this movie.
Oh my God, it would be amazing if they did, because I think it would be incredible.
It says Jim Miller's Mosaic and Will Ferrell and Adam McKay, Gary Sanchez Productions have partnered to produce a remake of the 1980 short-lived crime series Manimal.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible.
That was back in 2014. I wonder what happened to it.
Oh, it must have never made it past development, but that would have been so funny.
Yeah, it does look like a cool show. I'll have to check that out. I bet you I can dig it out somewhere.
Because you remember the movie Howling, right?
Right. Yep.
With the werewolves and that kind of changing, and I think it might even been like the guy that was doing the special effects for that movie had worked on the show or something along those lines. But I just, for whatever reason, it just always stayed burned in my mind.
They're asking in chat, what does Ronnie think about the Hunting Bigfoot show? What are your thoughts on that?
They talking about the mountain monsters or finding Bigfoot. Any of these, hunting Bigfoot type shows, I'm not a huge fan of, where it's like they're trying to hunt it down like it's a deer.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. It's just. I think it's interesting when you start looking at the Bigfoot reports and encounters. The people that have the most ones are the ones that are doing like the gifting, where they're leaving items and stuff and getting stuff exchanged, where there's then this like interaction. And they talk about them almost being like these highly evolved spiritual beings, more so than this dumb ape that's living in the woods. So I think that paradigm shift needs to happen, and I'm trying to, I think, bring that forward. But again, I don't know. There's no real experts out there of what these things are. I think some people have figured out some stuff, and they're sharing things, but I think overall we're still, the guesses out there over what all this really is, what Bigfoot really is. But yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the shows that are trying to kill something like that.
God, but wouldn't it be, I mean, I don't think it's right either, but wouldn't it be epic if somebody finally did say, like, I got a Bigfoot, you know?
Yeah. You almost need that body, right? You need that physical, tangible thing to say, here it is, it exists, here it is. And we do need that. We need that in some form. I mean, it'd be great to have something that's alive and but I think that for the masses to really get on board and believe in this, that's what needs to happen, unfortunately.
That's why I have such a problem with, or they say, Bigfoot's in Arkansas. There's been several sightings of Bigfoot in Arkansas. Thousands and thousands of Bigfoot sightings in Arkansas. Well,
the folk monster, yeah.
That's right, yeah. But where I'm from, there can't be thousands of sightings of Bigfoot in the woods here if someone didn't take a shot at it, Like, right. I mean, seriously, during hunting season around here, and it's about to kick up again, it literally sounds like World War II out here. Like, it sounds like you're in a war zone where I live.
Okay.
If somebody saw a Bigfoot, I can almost guarantee you that, well, I don't know. I would think somebody would take a shot at one.
Well, it's interesting is that, stories from hunters that have had a Bigfoot creature in their scope have claimed that it seems so human that they can't pull the trigger. They get this feeling that they're going to kill something that is more human than animal. So maybe there have been some scenarios like that, and people aren't really willing to share them, or they're too fast for them to even to catch. But I've heard that same story echoed where it's, wow, these things are too human for me to take it down.
Yeah. I've always felt, did you ever go hunting when you was a kid? Or do you still hunt at all?
I have guns. I haven't gone shooting in a while, but I love to go like target shooting and doing that. Yeah. I used to hunt, not like real super serious, but I had friends that were hunters and would go out with them in the woods and stuff like that. But it's something that I never really felt good doing. I've always been, I think, an animal lover first and foremost. So, but if I needed to survive and live out there, that's something that, a skill that I'm confident that I could do,
Yeah, so here's the thing. Like when I was a kid, I've hunted deer my whole life. I've been in the woods out here in Arkansas my whole life, man. And when I was a kid, my dad taught me a lot of stuff about shooting guns, gun safety. I think I've killed just about every animal you can think of. I never felt good about it, like I never felt like it was something proud or, you see these guys on the shows, they're celebrating and high-fiving and stuff because they killed an animal in the woods. Man, look at that rack. Right. I never really got any kind of rush over it. I always felt like crap, man, every time I did it. Every time.
Yeah. I've always had that that same kind of feeling, and it just never felt right. I've got to the point where I was like, I don't know if I want to have my guns anymore. I'm not hunting. I'm not really going shooting. But it seems to be like whether that's I'm getting older or what have you. Even the state of this world, you kind of think, it might be a good idea to hold on to those things, but part of me is just saying, it's time to kind of move that next level, and I don't want to have them anymore. But it is fun. It's something that I enjoy doing. It's a good stress reliever, and it's a fun time.
Well, it's always fun, as well, talking to you on the show, man. And I know you're over in the East Coast, but you're used to this, man. You've been on coast to coast, fade to black. You've done all this stuff before. But it's still cool to have you talk to us again, Ronnie, and we'll be keeping an eye on you. And if you need anything from us, let us know. And I'll keep the promo open to send out a book to for the rest of the show if anybody wants to call in. But
awesome.
Yeah, man, it was really good to talk to you again. And I think we might title the show Orange Orbs and Manimals. You know, that's probably what
I love it.
That's probably what I'm going to title the show.
But, well, I love talking to you. I love coming on, and once the new show on Travel Channel gets going, we'll have to have me on again so we can talk a little bit further about that stuff, and I'll do some stuff with Monsterland and Light in the Void, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Real quick, too, before we let you go, can you tell everybody where to find you, just in case they don't look at the links and they're only listening?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you want to check out the podcast, it's called Monsterland. You can find it on all the different platforms, Spotify, our iHeartMedia, Apple. And then the book is called Monsterland, Encounters with UFOs, Bigfoot and Orange Orbs, which is on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. There's a Kindle version available. And then I have my website, which is Ronny, RONNY, LeBlanc, LEBLANC.com. And stay tuned. If you watch Travel Channel Monday, you should start seeing some promos for a new show that I'm a part of, and I'm excited to kind of share that experience with the world, really. So I'm excited to see that pop.
Oh, yeah. Back on the telly again, huh? Cool, man.
Yeah.
Really cool. All right, Ronnie, thanks for coming out. I really appreciate it, brother.
Thanks, Joe. Great talking to you, brother. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. You too. We'll be right back.
To Lighting the Void Radio.
Hola, Fringe listeners. This is Dave Cruz of Beyond the Strange, and you're listening to The Fringe FM.
Did you know that qualified patients can access medical cannabis in all 50 states? Canasense is a medical cannabis collective that helps patients in all 50 states gain access to cannabis medication. Canasense does this with a streamlined process and strict compliance with the Compassionate Use Act of 1996, the Affordable Care Act, and the U.S. Constitution. It is important for each patient to understand the legalities involved, the costs, and the benefits of cannabis medication. Through truth, legalization, and education, the medical benefits of cannabis will supplant recreational perceptions, and the real vision for change will be realized. Let the people and their personal doctors take control of their medical cannabis decisions before the greed of big business takes over. The tipping point for change is today, and Canasense is ready to lead the charge and enable legal access for all qualified patients to medical cannabis through its proven system. For more information, go to thefringe.fm/care or click the banner on the website today.
Hey, is that a new music app?
Yeah, check it out. Surfer Music Discovery. It links to thousands of online stations, but the twist is you see the song names and artists that are now playing live.
That's different. No guessing. Looks like a waterfall of music.
So many formats. Rock, oldies, country, R&B, jazz, and a whole lot more.
How's that spelled?
Surfer. S-U-R-F-R.
Is it expensive?
It's free. No need to sign up or sign in.
Get the Surfer Music app free from Google Play or the App Store.
Do you want to know the truth? Are UFOs real? Are aliens visiting Earth? Are governments around the world hiding the biggest secret in history? We're UFO Seekers, official partner of The Fringe FM, and we're on a hunt for the truth. Join us as we investigate locations like Area 51 by subscribing on YouTube at youtube.com/UFO Seekers.
The Fringe FM isn't just a radio station. We also provide services for all your audio production needs. If you're interested in live radio or pre-recorded podcasts, we're here to help. We even do audio enhancements and voiceovers if needed. If you want to do a podcast or live radio show and even want the option to syndicate on terrestrial radio, from simple audio file enhancement to live production and call screening, we have you covered. We have worked with some of the best professionals in the business in order to provide coaching instruction for content creation, show structure, and more. Contact The Fringe Digital Media for more at info@thefringe.fm. That's info@thefringe.fm. Or call 501-777-5631 for a consultation.
We all have that story to tell in our lives. The winds were howling, the ground shook, you could hear rushing water, and then history repeats itself. When there's no power, refrigeration fails, stores with their shelves stripped bare, ATMs can't operate, deliveries stop. Then what? These events can last days or weeks. You need a plan. In statements made during recent interviews, FEMA Administrator Brock Long has repeatedly urged all Americans to understand three truths. FEMA is broke, the system is broken. If this is the new normal, Americans can't rely on federal cavalry when disaster strikes. Don't get caught out in the elements empty-handed. Prepare with us by going to preparewiththefringe.com and get your 2-week food supply. 92 servings, 8 food varieties with 25-year shelf life. Normally $137, now only $75. Or get a month's supply, normally $247, now only $147, shipped in one business day. Just go to preparewiththefringe.com or call 888-440-7931. That's 888-440-7931. Get this great offer and be prepared while it lasts.
Listening to Lighting the Void. The call-in number is 1-800-588-0335. If you would like to text, you can text in at 501-777-5631.
Okay. Yeah, so what I'm finding out is it's actually a little bit difficult to ship to Canada. I don't know what the hell's going on, like some kind of tariff tax or something that we can't. I'm gonna have to keep reading into this, that we can't ship to Canada without paying. How much? I know the last thing I shipped to Canada, it cost me $50 to try to do anything. So, because I know we got a lot of listeners up there. But look, if you've got one of these stories, either way, we'll figure it out. You want to call in, it's 1-800-588-0335. And don't think I don't see all of you. You're not hiding. I see each and every one of you. Where you're at, well, close to where you're at. The cities aren't exact. But, so if you don't want to call in, I get it. But it's kind of crazy that you can't even bribe some of you folk. But I wanted to tell you guys, like, I've never saw an orb in my entire life. And I wanted to talk to Ronnie about this because a lot of you have reported these orbs to me, these orange orbs. I've seen the videos of the orange stuff. Well, I would call it stuff. I wouldn't really call it orbs that Tim Doyle has shown. And I wanted to talk about that here in the last part of the show because it's kind of like a lesson that I've learned in this, I guess, doing this over time, is that it gets harder and harder over time in this community for some folks to stand in their truth. And when I say stand in their truth, if you've seen a Bigfoot or if you've had a UFO experience or an encounter, and if you're in a world of skeptics, it's going to get pretty hard for you to stand in your truth. You know, they're going to grill you, they're going to drag you down, try to fragment you, all this other stuff. Well, this is what happens when I talk about the out-of-body experience. It's very hard for me to stay talking about it or to stand in my truth, except for on this show, you know, because you guys love talking about it. Some of you've had the experience. And what I've been seeing here lately is, and I don't know if I can blame social media on it or the internet. I don't know what the hell to blame on it, actually, but people don't get rewarded for standing in their truth anymore. They get punished. It seems like, you know, and I hope that changes. I hope it does change over time. I really do, because a lot of you have had some pretty hardcore experiences that have been devastating, life-changing. Specifically one that I can think about I don't want to say any names, but that was a life-changing event for me here on the show, where I did realize that, okay, these people that are talking about encounters with beings are very real, and very scary. I've always kind of thought that they were, but I just didn't know. The doubt's always been in the back of my mind, But it happens. And I wonder sometimes if it's our level of consciousness that keeps us from having these experiences, or if there's some kind of family or generational curse or something that certain people have experiences with. I don't know. I don't think it's specific to location, although the orange orb thing has just kind of been all over the place. And I've always wanted to do just kind of a show on orange orbs. I didn't really plan on doing it tonight. It just kind of turned out that way with Ronnie. And there's a humongous history to this. Terry Ray's book is probably a good place to start. But I do not think that these are aliens, so to speak. I think that these orange orbs that people are seeing, it's hard for me to say it almost because I don't like saying stuff like this, but I think that they're what a lot of people are calling angels or the watchers. Now, I'm not talking about the little orbs that are flying in and out of, paranormal videos. I'm talking about the big ones in the sky, right? Now, there is an article on the web that talks about the different colors of ghost orbs and their meanings. I don't know how true this is, but I don't even think it's related. But I have seen video after video, countless videos of these orange or even amber, almost even, I think I would call them earwax colored things in the sky that just come and go. And something is definitely interfacing with this planet. And we're trying to throw it off and say, well, it's just plasma or it's ball lightning or no, it can't be. So let me go through some of these ghost orbs with you before we get into the big orb stuff, if we got enough time. But so there's a theory that the orb meanings and the different colors of these orbs, and we're talking specifically about paranormal activity here, is that there are different spirits that are manifesting in some type of way. Now, colors might have not any meaning, but I highly doubt that. Or some people say that a spirit could be trying to communicate with something other than color. And then you'll have those people that say, well, just use your feelings and feel the orb. I don't know about all that. But here we go. Clear orbs may be a sign of an entity that is trying to communicate with you. The spirit may be trying to talk to you or let the living know that some kind of significant event happened in that location and that the spirit wants to help you move on. A lot of people have seen these clear orbs in battlefields, cemeteries, or around hospitals and even insane asylums. Then there are white or silver orbs, and these are called spiritually white or silver orbs that are associated with spirituality and connection with a higher source. Some investigators believe orbs that are either white or silver in appearance are an indication that a spirit is trapped on this plane, and it may also be a sign that the spirit is there to offer protection to the people in the area. White energy is typically perceived as a highly positive orb in nature. I think we assume too much about that. I think we assume that white is good all the time. I don't think it's necessarily good all the time. Now, here's someone that I've never seen before. I guess it's the first time I've heard about it because I'm orb stupid. But there are black and brown orbs. Many feel black or brown colors are associated with lower spiritual vibrations or heavy energy. And some people interpret these as evil, although it isn't necessarily the case. When black or brown orbs appear, some investigators interpret them as a sign that the area may be unsafe or negative in nature. So if you're in an area where there's black or brown orbs, examine such a place with caution. And if you feel uncomfortable or unsafe, get the hell out. Then we're getting closer to what we were talking about tonight. Then there's the red or orange orbs. And from a spiritual perspective, red and orange colors are associated with safety and security. I don't think so, but okay. As well as a sense of belonging. While these warm colors are often associated with strong emotions such as anger and passion, this may not be the case when it comes to ghost orbs. Some, quote, some paranormal investigators believe a red or orange orb is a sign that an entity has assumed the role of a protector. This could be someone who was charged in life to keep watch or be a caretaker. Where the hell do they get this information from? There's no, this has just got to be a guess or something. It's a spiritual guess, right? Green orbs. In spiritual practice, green is associated with the heart. That's true. But it is also associated with nature. Green orbs are sometimes thought to be an indication of the presence of a human spirit, as opposed to one that was never on earth in human form. Likewise, green orbs may represent love or oneness with nature. Blue orbs. Now, I'm not speaking this as fact. I'm just telling you what people are saying about all these different orbs. Blue is spiritually associated with psychic energy and truth. It is a very calming color, and many people associate it with spiritual guidance. Some people feel blue orbs are a sign of calming presence of energy, while others feel that they indicate the presence of a spirit guide in that location. God, we got all the colors of the damn rainbow here. Gray or smoky orbs. Gray may indicate depression or a spiritual lack, or it may represent fear or ambivalence. If you see an orb of this color, it may indicate the presence of a depressed spiritual entity or an entity lacking in spiritual awareness. Smoke-like. The color gray may indicate confusion or trouble. And then there are pink orbs, my favorite color. It is common belief that pink orbs are messengers of love. This can be universal love, such as the spiritual love of an ascended master, guide, teacher, or archangel. It can also be a more specific love, such as the love of a deceased family member who takes on the mantle of a spirit orb to say they are still with you. Whoever the messenger is, a pink orb brings the message of encouragement, hope, peace, and always love. Now, in some orbs, I don't know, the camera lenses have coatings with different colors on them, and I think sometimes they're just not orbs, or it's changing the colors based on the lenses. But you see all this stuff in paranormal photography. It's all over the place. But these orange orbs, I guess, that we were talking about tonight, they're not related. I wanted to be specifically clear. What we're talking about are like lights in the sky. Massive orbs, I guess. But Ronnie, I didn't make that clear, but that's what I was talking about. The UFO orbs, the orange orbs. Sometimes they appear as flat discs, cloudy discs. They may have colors tinting them, or they may have a mottled appearance. Some people believe they see faces or angels in orbs, but this is the most likely a trick of the mind called pareidolia, in which the mind seeks to see the familiar and random patterns. Orbs in videos often look three-dimensional. They may appear to be lit, or they may be white or dark. Orbs seen with the naked eye tend to have a three-dimensional appearance that look lit from within, like a bulb of a flashlight. The real question is, are orbs good or bad? Now, here's where I don't understand how they know the truth to this stuff. They just quote it as if it's true. The truth is they are neither. That's what they're saying here. They may be photographic or video artifacts, or they may be something more. While the jury is still out on whether ghost orbs are truly caused by paranormal activity, or if they are merely dust flecks left on a camera lens, remember that most information about ghost orb colors come from the theory rather than science. All right. Well, there is no doubt in my mind that the orange orbs are real. Not one single doubt. And the ones I'm talking about are not the ones that you see on all the paranormal videos and stuff. The ones that are caught in the sky, the UFO ones. If you go to the UFO Seekers YouTube page, there's I believe it's titled, I want to say it's titled A Real UFO, Actual UFO Caught on Film. And this thing is not the shape of an orb. It's kind of odd shaped, actually. but you can definitely see it looks like something that is interfacing between something that's interfacing, sorry, I got distracted there. Something that's interfacing between this realm and the next. I, on the other hand, don't pretend to know. The out-of-body experiences that I've had, I've never seen an orb in my life. I don't know what they are. They don't scare me. But what I have learned in the past few weeks is when people have tell me they have an experience, instead of grilling them out, I'm just going to take it for face value, because I've had some pretty crazy experiences in the past couple of months. Some that are so freaky I can't even really talk about. But I did see something for the first time in my life that just didn't go away. That was weird. Okay, that just didn't go away. And what I mean by that is it didn't go away when I looked at it. So usually we'll see stuff out of the corner of our eye, and we will turn and look at it, and it will be gone, right? The new drink word for the show is interfacing. Yeah, don't make fun of my words, Don. All right? That's the best way I can explain it. So I want to say it was 3 weeks ago. I don't even know what night it is. I'm up so much, but I see this thing out of the corner of my eye, and it's kind of white colored, right? It looks white. And I turn to look because I'm thinking, well, maybe it's smoke from the ashtray or the incense burner, or maybe it's something out of the corner of my eye. And I turn and I look, and it's a moon. It's like a moon. I want to say crescent moon shaped, or maybe fingernail moon shaped. And it is just floating across my room here in the shack. And I'm watching it. I'm just glancing at it just to make sure, it's not something stupid, or it's not a piece of dust, or maybe it's a fallen cobweb. Who the hell knows? But no, this thing was real. And it went all the way back towards back there where I meditate, and disappeared. 4 days later, you know how when people talk in their sleep and they're just kind of half asleep telling you a story? Well, I experienced that. Like someone was half asleep. Doesn't matter. It's not important who they were. And they were saying, I see these moon-shaped things, fingernail, like moon-shaped white thingies that float. I see them. And it just sent chills up my arm, man, chills down my back, because I was like, I just got through seeing one of those damn things, So I know that there's something there. I know there's something real about it, but it wasn't in the shape of an orb or a ball. And I would like to know if anybody out there, anybody has seen one of those things like I have. It's kind of crescent moon shaped. And I need to bring this up again too tonight. I did it at the beginning of the show, and I'll do it here at the last. This is the first one of the few times we've had a listener reach out to us for help. And I feel like as a Void Walker community, we should try to do what we can. It says, "Hey Joe, my real name is Anastasia. I know we don't know each other, but I listen as often as I can. For a couple of years, I've been listening. Actually, I know this may seem odd, but I have a favor to ask. A very simple one. My stepdad recently and unexpectedly passed away a few days ago, and he was on hard times, so there's no insurance policy or money in the bank. I've been there before, as he was living check to check, like most of us do. And then unemployment happened, but my stepsisters left to finance the cremation, so their families left to finance this thing and the memorial service, and we're trying to help ease the burden. Her mom passed away a few years ago, and we are all she has left, so the girl's alone. That's terrible. That's sad. Would you mind giving us a shout out to see if anybody would help, right? Would you mind sharing our GoFundMe page? If not, that's okay. I'm just trying to be a good sister. And you are being a very good sister. And so I'm going to drop this GoFundMe page in there again, but if you go to GoFundMe.com and search Brian or the unexpected death of Brian Conlon. Guy looks like a happy guy, you know. If you can help them out, that would be fantastic. I appreciate you, Jose. That's great, man. Thank you. And help him out, man. That's one of us. That's a void walker. Like, that's one of our community, right? So let's, if you got it, help. If you don't, either way, spread it around Facebook, and let's help him out. I think that's probably what we need to do. There's a lot of been anonymous people helping too. It's not cool when people pass away, you know, especially when you get around my age and your parents have been there for you your whole life, and everybody grows up, right? But you at some point in your life, if everything goes according to nature, you're going to get left on your own. Your parents aren't going to be around anymore, and you're just going to be on your own. Now, for a lot of you, that doesn't mean a damn thing, right? It really doesn't. But you have to understand there still are some people out there that don't have anybody in their life, or they're not, I guess you could say, self-sufficient emotionally, maybe not even financially, and that's more prevalent than you think. And then when these people leave them, it's a scary situation. Not only does it hurt, but it's when you really finally realize that you're alone, you know, for the first time in your life. And it sucks. So, no, this is a different person named Anastasia that just randomly hit me up today. It was really weird. People are asking if that's Lady Ann. No, this is, this person's only hit me up once a long time ago about Bigfoot, and then they hit me up today. And I can tell by the message that it probably wasn't easy to ask for that, but that's fine. I'm glad that you did. You're being a good big sister. I would have done the same thing for my little sister. So I guess what I'm saying is, you know, keep standing in your truth. Don't let anybody tell you any different. And tomorrow night we're going to there's something I want to talk about, but I'm not sure if I want to talk about it tonight. I might actually just save it for Friday. Yeah, I think I will. Tomorrow night, Becca Tarnas is going to be on the show at beccatarnas.com. And she's a scholar, an artist, and editor of Archive, the Journal of Archetypal Cosmology, and she received a doctorate in philosophy and religion from California Institute of Integral Studies. And we're going to talk about the Red Book of Carl Jung and J.R.R. Tolkien. Now, the Red Book of Carl Jung, this is pretty wild, even creepy in some ways. But the research that she talks about and her interests are in the depths of psychology, literature, philosophy, and the ecological imagination. And she teaches something that I believe in tremendously, which is Jungian psychology and the study of archetypes. I think it's important that we learn this stuff. And I also want to know if any of you guys actually did what I asked you to do yesterday. You probably don't remember, but we were talking about the tarot yesterday. And this was for the skeptics of the tarot, by the way, not just people that believe in it, but anybody that's skeptical about divination or tarot. I would have you go to YouTube and look up your sun sign and just pick the week that you're in and listen to like 12, as many YouTube videos as you can of these people doing readings for you. And then you tell me if it's not real. You tell me if it's a coincidence, right? And what you're going to notice if you'll actually go do it, and this is just the divination part, not the initiation and understanding all the symbols, only the divination part, right? And these people are using all kinds of different cards and stuff too. What you'll find is there'll be a main narrative of what's going on in your life, but each person is going to interpret that differently. And you're going to see, like we've been telling you, that the energies that are happening are really happening, and that people can feel it and they can divine it. But at the end of the day, it's still your choice. That's why those people that do the readings, the ones that really do it, they never can tell you what to do. Some of them will, but you can tell those people are kind of bitter too. If that doesn't prove to you that there's something else out there, there's something on the other side of this, if all of that stuff is coincidence, I'd like any skeptic to debate me on that. Unless I just had one experience, which I highly doubt, where 12 to 13 different tarot readers are telling me the same thing. That can't be possible. We do got to get out of here. The Secret Teachings with Ryan Gable's coming up next. Another cool thing too, you guys, if you listen to the Secret Teachings, you're going to notice I think he's got a co-host on there now. I heard her last night. I don't know her name. I talked to Ryan today. I didn't get to talk to him very much about it, but I think Ryan has changed up his show a little bit, and it's actually making it a little bit more interesting, kind of. I never thought he would do that, like have a co-host on, Ryan Gable. But maybe, I don't know if it's permanent or not, but y'all just kind of tune in and let me know what you think. Also, the Halloween special is coming up, so if you guys want to do like a spot, or if you got a promo or just something funny you want to record, you can go to lightingthevoid.com / actually just go to the contact page. I was going to say /contact. Go to the contact page, hit that speak pipe button, and just record whatever you want, and then I will play it. All right. Anyways, I'm getting some weird messages here. All right, so we'll see you guys tomorrow night. Becca Tarness is going to be on the show. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight. Also, I want to thank Ronnie LeBlanc for coming on. Don't copy the show without written permission. Big shout out to Pacho. Music by Chronox. Guitar by Bundy. Big shout out to Don, Dennis, all y'all in the chat room. Eric Markham, Jeremy Scott. See you guys tomorrow night. Good night.
On this program do not necessarily reflect those of the Fringe FM, KTLK Digital Broadcasting, its sponsors, affiliates, or staff. Listener discretion is advised.
Difference when you're on a spree. Over the teeth behind the gums, look out, stomach, here she comes. I have another trick on me. Gurgle, 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 gurgle. Gurgle, 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 gurgle. Pickle, 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 slice of cheese and bite of pickle, doesn't even pop a nickel. Now to wash it down.